Hey guys, and welcome to LITTLEBLACKBOOK91. We are here sitting down with Tranika from Ready to Love Miami, the latest in the series. Listen, it's been a interesting series so far, and Tranika was involved in some great moments on the show, and you guys have been wanting me to sit down with her, so we've managed to pull it off, and we're gonna have a really great conversation as well today. How you doing, Tranika?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me on your platform. It's nice to finally meet you.
No problems at all. It's a pleasure to meet you too. It's been good vibes, and it's been a pleasure watching you on our screen as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No worries at all. Before we get any deeper into any kind of conversations, I'd like to just kind of do some human verification because you real pretty. You got
Well,
lovely
thank you.
energy.
I
You know,
appreciate the compliment, but I'm not gonna pass the test, Kojo. I'm not a human
are you
being.
not?
Alien.
Oh,
I'm an
oh,
alien.
oh!
Yeah,
You out of this world? Is that what you're trying to say to me?
I'm just saying.
Okay, I like it. She flipped it on me. All right, I am mad at it. I am mad at it. Well, let's see how badly you failed the test. Then let's see. You know
Okay,
what I mean? Let's see
bring
how badly you
it.
failed the test.
Bring it on.
First question.
Okay.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. First question. You're on a plane. Okay, you're playing the same. We got to make an emergency stop in one country.
Okay.
What is that one country that you'd want that plane to stop in?
Haiti.
Oh, okay. Haiti. Okay, why Haiti?
That's where my family is from, and
Oh,
I've never touched its soil. And when I
wow.
was going to, that's when the pandemic hit.
Let me get.
So, yeah,
Okay.
I would go to Haiti.
Okay. Good reason. I like it. Okay,
Mhm.
Haiti. I love it. All right. With energy. I love it. Second question for human verification. Um, I know we spoke about this behind the scenes, but favorite color and why?
So I have two favorite colors, and I love them
Okay.
equally, blue and purple. So
Mm,
it's those colors represent royalty,
yeah.
prosperity, abundance, and those are my favorite. But it's more than anything, um, the attraction to it. It's not just because of the symbolism, but more so the calming effect that it has for me. So yeah, it's like
Mm.
it's vibey. It got a nice vibe, like what you got in the background. It sets a nice tone and a mood and atmosphere. And so those are my favorite colors.
Listen, I'm with you. Blue and purple is my favorite colors too,
Mhm.
and definitely has a royalty feel to them as well. Definitely purple, especially purple,
Yes.
and a darker royal blue as well. They have ties to royalty and being. I think, especially with purple, it was hard to get back in the day, especially within the UK culture when you had kings and queens very much prominent. Very difficult to get purple, so
Yes.
it's very much a regal color and royal color. So I'm with you on that one, 100%, 100. Okay. Okay. Cool. And then my final question:
Okay.
cereal or the milk in the bowl first?
Come on, Kojo. You know you got to pour the cereal in first.
I don't know. Mm-mm.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to have soggy cereal. Like,
Okay.
no, let's put the cereal in first, and
Okay.
then add the milk to make sure it's like perfect.
Perfect. Okay. Do you have
Yeah.
a favorite cereal that you normally eat?
Um. Shoot, I haven't had cereal in such a long time, but
Misconceptions.
fruity back in the day, fruity pebbles used to be my absolute favorite cereal, and then as an adult, I gravitated towards shoot, I'm trying to think of the name. It's like honey bunches of oats.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. I think I did see that when I was in America. So, okay. I'm with you. I'm with you on this. I'm with you on this, and I'm with you. You don't put like ice or anything in there, do you? As well, like.
No, I don't, but I
Okay.
dated someone who did. So I used to drop like, one or two ice cubes in there for him, make it nice and
Mm.
chilled, but that's not my thing.
Okay, okay. So you okay? All right. I mean, you said you were gonna fail this test, but it feels like you passed the test. Janika, you might be more human than you realize. You might have a little bit of both in
Or
you.
maybe, yeah, it could be a little bit of both, or maybe I just understand humans, come down to earth
Mm,
sometimes and try to understand the humans a little bit, and then I go back to outer space.
Listen, nothing wrong with that at all. We like a person out of space, so I'm with you. I'm with you. And since you come from outer space, we would love to know, a little bit about Tranika and what Tranika's story. What's your origin story? Who are you? What's your story?
Oh, that's so vague. Yeah, I'm not great with those questions. Only
Mm.
because it's like, where do you start? Like,
Ah, from the other
like,
planet. I think you start
yeah,
from there.
like where do you start? Um, you know, just a Miami girl, born and raised in Miami, Carroll City specifically, which is now known as Miami Gardens. It is the largest Black city in Miami, and I think it's the third largest in the country. Let's see. I'm the oldest of three siblings. I'm Haitian American. My father is Haitian. My mother is American. So I'm a first generation American on my father's side.
Wow.
I was raised by all of my family members, grandparents, great grandparents, aunts, uncles, godparents, cousins. Being the oldest child, everybody had their hands in raising me. So I am very big on family. I'm very big on my relationship with God. And yeah, I just like connecting with people genuinely and seeing people for who they are and connecting to their heart space.
Mm, I love that. So connecting with people, in their heart space, has that always been something that you've been acclimatized and accustomed to? Is that something that you grew up doing, or is that something that's quite new for you?
No, that's just who I am as a person. Like I'm a nurturer
Mm,
by nature. Like I'm just naturally a nurturer. Naturally just loving. I guess it's also because I've received a surplus of love growing up.
mm,
And still to this day that I give it so freely because, love is very healing. So I I like to, when you're in my presence, you will feel love. I will say that.
mm.
Mhm.
Obviously, if that's always been you, growing up, then what was that like? Because some of us we were nice, kind, and some of us got taken advantage of. Like love, sometimes when you're younger, people kind of misunderstand people like yourself who are very nurturing. How was it
Mhm.
like for you growing up then with that ability to nurture and care for people?
I think for me, it was, it wasn't bad.
Okay.
Sometimes people have this thing where they feel like just because you are a nurturer that maybe you don't have a backbone or, you're a
Mm.
pushover or anything like that. But luckily for me, I haven't had people try me like that. So it's kind of like, I have very few instances in my life where people felt inclined to try me and see like, they
Mm.
felt like I was docile or anything. But you'll be surprised that people are accepting of it because they're not used to it or
Hmm.
they know what it is and they can easily receive it. But growing up, I've just always been that type of person who got along for the most part with everyone. And I've never been, into having cliques or anything like that. I put me on a playground, I'm playing with everybody. Like, okay, it's some group of kids over here. I play with you for a little bit, then I bounce to this, group and just, yeah, that's just always been me. And if someone is hurting, I'm going to be right there to see if they're okay. That's just
Hmm.
who I am.
I love that. Obviously, like you said, you're when you're obviously, when you're younger, you have the groups that you kind of flex into. I was a kid that would normally not popular, but not at the bottom either. I used to flex between all the different groups and stuff. I used to kind of be able to get on with everybody. How was it for you being younger? Was you somebody who moved through different social groups, or do you have a specific group you stick to? Like, how was it for you growing up then?
I stuck to myself. Like I said, I've never been very big on clicks, so I've just
Mm,
always been that type of person that everybody was cool with.
yeah,
I was a little nerdy child. I mean, I love that I'm a nerd. Like I've never saw
nothing
like
wrong with that.
nerdiness is um, anything bad, but cool. And yeah, I had different people that I was cool with, but
Love that.
I've always been very big on having quality friendships. So just because I'm cool with them,
Mm,
that doesn't mean that they are my friends, like that we are hanging out after school or talking on the phone. It's just that when, we're in school, then we're cool kind of thing. But I had a very small group of friends who were actually close to me, and I was close to them because I'm kind of very discerning with my friendships, but I still get along with everyone.
Love that. So when you say discerning, just for
Mhm.
someone, I know what you mean, but some people might not know what discerning means. When you say you're discerning of friendships, what does that mean to you?
Just kind of like picking up that person's spirit, man, to see like, whether or
Mm,
not we connect. If this person is a genuine person, a good person to be friends with, who um, will have my back and I have theirs, and care about me genuinely and I care about, them genuinely. So it's just discernment is just being able to pick up on who a person is, kind of thing, have an idea of who they are, picking up their vibe.
I love that. So give us a little insight then, because everyone has different ways they grew up. What was it like for you growing up in your household?
Uh-huh.
How was it like experiencing your family? Because you said you grew up with your grandparents, your parents was there as
Yeah.
well. Tell us a bit more about that, how you grew up and what you experienced.
Oh, I was, people may say spoiled. I like to say loved.
Depends on who's asking.
Yeah, so it was always fun for me. Um, Being the oldest, I had my cousin. She's like my everything. Like we're like this. She was my cousin, best friend, all wrapped up in one. People used to think we were twins because we're 4 months apart, but we were each other's siblings at first. And then, having my grandparents, I have a lot of grandparents because I do have a blended family. I did mention that on the show. So I grew up with a lot of grandparents and great grandparents, so, and even great great grandparents. So I'm very very blessed. So I used to be just a little talkative little baby, always talking, also sassy. So I used to get on punishment because being sassy, me and my mouth. My grandmother told me that it was always, okay for me to ask questions. So I'm highly
Hmm.
inquisitive, which lent itself, with me being a journalist, having a background in journalism.
Oh.
But yeah, always asking questions, playing. I was never a child that was selfish. Like I was
Mm.
always, thinking of others. During the holidays, I used to make cards for all of my family members, and I used to take great pride in that. Just used to travel, just hang out with everybody. It was fun. I had a very blessed childhood, for the most part.
I
And the
love
greatest
that.
thing is like when my dad moved to California, I used to spend a lot of my summers in California. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So was it, did you notice any differences in terms of when you're in California to when you've been back home? What was some of the differences that you kind of noticed?
Well, for me, whenever I was in California, I felt like I was home. It's just something about the
Mm.
energy in California. And I'm very artsy. My father is too, because when he moved to California, he was pursuing a career in acting and modeling.
Ooh,
So, yes,
that's
and
very
my
cool.
bonus mom, she was a professional dancer. So, whenever I went to California, I just felt like the energy there, I just felt like I was seen, for my artsiness kind of thing. And yeah, there's a lot of weird people in California, and I love weird people because I'm weird.
Not wrong with that at all. Not wrong. You said obviously you grew up and you was a little bit of a nerd. What was your kind of thing then? What was your nerdy thing? Because some of us have like comic books, some of us are
Yeah, so
cartoons,
I
whatever. What was your thing?
love reading. I love teaching
Okay.
myself. Like I love learning. Like I was never one of
Okay.
those kids who didn't want to go to school. Like I love going to school. I hated homework,
Mm. All right.
but I love school. Like I was always, in advanced classes, since elementary school, and taking high school courses in middle school. When I was in elementary school, I found one of my mother's high school math books, and I taught myself algebra, when I was in what, the third, fourth grade.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I love learning, love reading. Used to write poetry. love doing random research. I love the encyclopedia. That's back. I mean, I don't know if you remember the encyclopedia,
I do indeed. Some
but
books.
yeah, I loved going to the library. Like I had my library card. My aunt introduced me to the library because she loved reading. So she would take me and my cousin to the library, and sometimes we would do homework there. And as I became an adult, I, started introducing that love to my godchildren and some of my nieces.
Love that. Okay, all right. I'm with you on this. Okay. So, what would you say was your childhood dream as a kid? Like, what did you want to become? Some of us wanted to be Cinderella, some of us
Yeah,
wanted to be,
talk show host.
princesses. What was your thing? What
A
was your
talk
thing?
show host.
Oh, okay. It's not.
Mhm.
Do you kind of do that already? Do you kind of do that a little bit already?
Yeah, exactly. And I've
Okay.
known that since I was 3 years old.
Wow.
Hmm.
So, when you achieved that goal, what was that like? Tell us, describe a little bit. What was that like when you finally achieved that goal?
Um, I don't know. I don't know how
Put it in
to
words.
describe it because I'm the type of person, whenever I achieve something, I don't know. It's like it's just like, okay, I'm just going through
Same.
the motions. It doesn't
Mm,
really like click like, oh shoot, like girl, this is what you said. And sometimes I have to like think back and be like, oh yeah, I did do that, huh? Oh yeah, that
mm,
was a big thing I did. Like, or sometimes, those closest to me would have to remind me like, well, Nika, you did do this. And I'm just like, oh yeah. But when it comes to others that I love, like, oh my gosh, I
pick
love
him up.
celebrating their milestones and everything. But when it comes to me, it's just like, okay, just I don't know. I'm a little delayed with my reactions. Maybe
Hey,
that's
listen,
the alien in me. Maybe that's where that comes from.
listen. I totally get you. It happens to me all the time, and people will say stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. Next thing. I'm very poor at celebrating some of the milestones that I put down or goals that I wanted to achieve. So
Mhm.
I'm definitely with you on that. Maybe that's why we like blue and purple. They're
Oh,
very
maybe, but
conservative colors.
I have I've gotten a little better with celebrating like small wins,
Okay.
So I love buying myself flowers,
Ooh,
or I love taking myself out on solo dates. So maybe I may to do a celebration, be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna take myself out. I'm gonna do this, do something really nice for myself, buy myself a card. Um, so yeah, I've gotten better at recognizing when I accomplish something, but I still feel like I have a long way to go. I'm not like 100% there, but that's what life is all about. It's a journey.
growth.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's just, and I like to do self reflection every day. I don't live my life with regrets. So every day I reflect on the day before and see, like, what areas can I improve? What did I do anything wrong? If there was miscommunication between me and someone else, I reflect like, okay, how could that have better been, how could I have handled that better? Or,
Yeah.
try to take myself out of my own feelings, detach my feelings, and look at things from the other person's perspective to have, better understanding. Because I seek to understand. I like to
Same.
communicate for
Hmm.
understanding. I don't just like to just talk and hear myself talk. Like, no.
Let me ask you a side question then. Is self-reflection and self-awareness, has it ever become a prison for you?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say that there have been times where I could be very hard on myself,
Mm,
especially when I was younger. Like I could never really see myself as a kid or a
mm,
teenager. I just felt like I could be doing more, could be doing this or what have you, and just be in my head. And then when I hit my late 20s, I was just like, girl, you were young. Calm down. What are you doing? Like,
I'm
girl.
with you.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
like it's not even that serious. Like, give yourself grace. So I learned how to give myself grace. Um,
Mm.
so yes, I give myself grace now, and I think it's so important. If we extend grace to others, we should also be able to extend grace to ourselves. So yeah.
That's such a big thing because I ask because obviously people who are like you said you self-reflect daily and you think about situations with people and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes that's people that are being self-reflective and being introspective and being self-aware, which can be its own kind of problem in its sense, which is that you get caught up in always being self-aware, which leaves you in a place where you're always analyzing, right? You
Mm-hmm.
almost get paralysis by analysis, because you're having to analyze every situation, you know. And in a world where people don't always self-analyze or self-reflect, it can
Mm-hmm.
leave you in a space where, you know, you're always being in that position where you're trying to, not in a bad way per se, but you know, you are always trying to improve, whereas others may not be doing that, and that can be very painful too in terms of some of the relationships and friendships you build. It's because I was talking about this with a friend, that's why I was kind of in my mind that particular question. So you've always been someone that's been self-reflective and self-aware from a
Yes.
young age.
Since I was a child, I've always self-reflected. I didn't even know at that time that that's what I was doing, but
Mm,
that's what I was doing. And you know, self-reflection doesn't make a person perfect or anything like
yep.
that. It's just, just wanting to grow. And I like to evolve and grow. I go to therapy, have a life coach. I'm not a perfect person, and I don't act like I'm a perfect person either. Like, I'm very much so a flawed human being,
Mm.
just trying to navigate this journey called life until, God calls me home.
I hear that 100. What would you say is your? I know maybe I don't know. I'm just being there. What would you say is one of your earliest memories of being self-reflective? Probably a weird question. I know. I'm in a weird mood.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Um, and I don't consider that a weird question.
Mm,
Uh, yeah. In this moment, I can't even. I don't. Hmm. Let's see. Huh. Yeah. In this
bit of a weird
moment,
question. I know.
yeah, it's not surfacing right now.
That's right. It's a bit of a weird question. I just because I was just thinking back to myself, like, okay, first time I ever was being self-reflective and just thinking about things in a more deeper fashion would have been probably
Mhm.
like when I was about maybe 10, maybe 10, maybe 9, 10. No, actually, probably even younger than that. Probably around about 7. And I remember I was watching my dad and mum and talking, and he said to my mum, "Oh, I married you because you can cook, and you know that's why I want to have you." And I remember saying to myself, "Why is it that men don't cook when my dad can cook, but my mum cooks?" And I remember saying,
Mhm.
"It's not fair." That's where my sense of justice was coming from when I was young. But I was like, it's not fair that he doesn't cook if he can cook. It didn't make no sense to me.
Mhm.
And so that was one of my first kind of things where I was reflecting and just, I guess I shouldn't do that when I'm older. Maybe that's something I wouldn't do. I mean, to be honest, I followed in his footsteps, but I'm just saying, obviously, at the same time, it was something I was thinking about at the time. So I was wondering if it was the same for yourself, like being young and just kind of, if it's natural to you, then it's something that's always been there in a sense. So
Mhm.
I think that's why it was kind of tickling my mind a little bit as well, you know.
I guess because I it's a daily practice that I don't,
Mm,
you know, just keep
thinking
log
right
of everything, because then when the next day comes, I'm self-reflecting,
again.
on that day, and just trying to learn and grow, learn from whatever mistakes, whatever mishaps, whatever triumphs that I may have, and keep going.
What would you say is one misconception people have of you normally?
The same crap that y'all was saying about me,
Say it.
like.
Go on, then, girl. Say it first.
Yeah, like, I've never said that I was innocent. I don't know where you
Mm,
guit's got that from,
I
but
think it's
it's
your
kind
lovely
of
voice.
well, thank you. I just feel like as people, we're not monolith. So it's just kind of like, come on now. I have emotions. Can't be happy go lucky all of the time, but I'm not a confrontational person either. I don't
Mm,
just pop off just to pop off. But the huge misconception is that just because I'm kind and nurturing,
mm,
that I don't have some spice to me, that I don't have a backbone, because that's not the case. That's definitely not the case, and nor do I portray myself to be that way. I just think that people, when meeting me and just meeting others, people like to, judge people without getting to know them, and I feel like people judge me in that way. And when I was growing up, there were people who thought I was stuck up, and then they would talk to me and be like, "Oh, you're real down to earth," and I'm like, "Well, yeah." like,
Yeah, it's me.
like, I don't think I'm better than anybody. like,
Mm.
but yeah, it's whatever. I think that's just people trying to process others based off of their own experiences, and
Mm.
that's all. Instead of trying to get to know someone for who they are, instead of projecting who they think that they should be. That's all it is. It's just projection.
Okay, cool. So, you went into college? Did you go into
Yes,
college?
I have a degree in mass communication
Oh, okay, baby. What made you go down that lane then? What made you choose mass communication?
because I'm great at all things media.
Mm.
I mean, I did tell you, like, since I was a little girl, I knew what I wanted to
Yeah.
do, and yeah, so it was like mass comm was it. And I remember being a young girl, and my bonus mom told me that that was her degree, and she told me what it entails, and it stuck with me, and I was like, that's me.
Mm.
yeah, so yeah, I have my degree in mass communication.
Oh, okay, cool. So, what was it like for you in college then? Because obviously, like I said, growing up, people have one image of you, but when you get to college, you get a bit older. You can.
Oh, I lived.
Oh, okay. What do you mean you
I lived.
lived?
I mean, like
How do you
I had
mean?
fun. Yeah, I lived. I lived just like any other college student. I have crazy stories,
We
just
want to
like
hear some new
everybody else.
stories.
But yeah, I was a first generation college student. So
Hmm.
navigating college for me, I felt like I didn't have much guidance. I had to figure things out as I went. And, I think that's also part of like me being the oldest too.
Yeah,
Just, you're the one that figures things
figure
out. But
something
I'm
out.
just grateful that I have my family who were always in support of anything that I wanted to do. So, um, yeah, I feel like I didn't have the guidance on how to navigate college, but figured it out and I did it.
Okay. When you say you didn't have the guidance, how do you mean? Like, how do you mean you didn't have the guidance? Or rather, what I should say is, what input would you have required at that point in time when you're looking back at that situation? What input did you want at that point?
Like the importance of networking while you're in college, because everybody in college is a future somebody.
Cool.
So it's very important for you to network. Also, navigating when you have like a counselor. Had sometimes a lot of the times they don't even know how to best advise you to. You have to essentially become your own advisor. Uh, not procrastinating.
Hey, I'm a procrastinator. Can't even lie to you.
Yeah, so that was like a big thing for me as well. And yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right, cool. I mean, that makes sense. Because I mean, I think when I was choosing my degree per se, I remember I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I did business studies, so I had nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. But I did business studies. I did it because uh, drama was not something I thought that drama is cool, but I'm not really going to take that far. If you're gonna be an actor, you're gonna be an actor. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um, so I left that alone. Then I left English alone because I felt like, yeah, if you're going to be a writer, you'll be a writer. You know what I mean? So I thought, let me just do business studies. I think I'm pretty good at that, and I would love to know more about business. But like yourself, I'm firstborn, so I
Hmm.
didn't really ask, or I can say both sides. Parents didn't necessarily say anything to me. I was quite independent at that age, anyway. By 18, we go to university, same as your college, at 18, and by that point, I'd already been quite independent. I did pretty much everything. And so I didn't really have the input in terms of what to do, which wasn't actually much of a problem. It was just maybe navigating actual those 3 years that we do for a degree. I think in terms of what people are like, I think that's what I wished I had maybe a bit more input on rather than what course to choose, because you learn so much in that time because people are literally reframing themselves as human beings. And there's a lot of different things that go on in that space. I don't know if that was the same for you in college. Was that something that you noticed as well in terms of people reframing their identities and coming into their own and shaping their futures in a different way?
For those who had parents who had gone to college, I noticed that. But for the most part, no. I mean,
Okay.
it's kind of like it depends. Like, there were some who were first gens like me, and then there were those who were not. And those who were not, I feel like they had more of an edge
Mm,
because they knew they had the guidance of what to expect and what to do. Um, but yeah, I have learned as I gotten older, when I think about my experiences in college, like to give myself grace because at first I didn't. And I was like, you know what? You did something that your parents did not.
mhm.
So, no, they gave you the support, and that's amazing, but it's not like they taught you how to do it. You did research and figured it out on your own. So, yeah.
Mm. I hear you. Firstborn's not easy. You got all the whole world on your shoulder trying to figure stuff out. So
I
I'm
figure like
definitely.
when being the firstborn is like you're the blueprint. This is how
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
imagine. Like you're essentially the test dummy baby because your parents are new to parenthood.
Yep.
So they're trying to figure things out. And being the first, you tend not to have someone to look up to kind of guide you in a sense. You're just clearing out the path for the kids who come after you. So I know with me, I was very big when it came to my siblings on providing guidance to them, because I'm like, listen, cleared the path for you. I need you guys to go farther than me,
Yep.
because that's important to me, that they they are better than me.
Mm. I'm with you on this. Yep. You are literally the springboard to help the youngers go further and beyond. You know what I mean? My
Mhm.
dad always says, if you don't be better than me, I failed. I'm like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
you know? So I can understand what you're saying on that respect. So tell me, what's the impact though? Because you talked about being in a blended family. What is the impact, or what was the impact for you being in a blended family? Because if you said your father was in California, family on this side as well, what
Mhm.
was the impact for you? What were some of the impacts that you had growing up in a more blended family?
Well, it taught me a lot about compassion
Okay.
growing up. It taught me that families can look different. That not all families are the same. Um, it taught me that people can have the capacity to love wholeheartedly people who are not even blood relatives. You know.
Mm.
So, yeah, my grandfather, may he rest in peace, who was very instrumental in raising me, wasn't even my mom's biological father.
Oh
But
wow.
if you encounter anybody that was around me growing up, you couldn't say that wasn't Trinika's
Hmm.
biological grandfather. Like you just,
Absolutely.
like you see me, you see him, and vice versa. Like I was his baby girl, and yeah, it showed me compassion and how to really love someone wholeheartedly.
Wow. So when you say, obviously, I'm intrigued now. Sorry, I got a bit between my
No,
teeth, so I like to
that's
ask
fine.
questions. So obviously, like I said, you mentioned about growing up more with grandfather as
Mhm.
well. And I tend to, when I meet people who have grown up with their grandparents, they do tend to have more of a, I want to say more, I would say a more loving disposition. And it could be just because the grandparents, they made all the mistakes, they got it right now. They know exactly what to do now. So they know exactly what to do now.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's something I've noticed. But I was going to say for you, then you mentioned obviously about grown up more with the grandparents in a sense. So what was the relationship like then with your immediate parents then? Was it like, were
I
you
had a
guys close? Like, do you have much connection with them? What was that like for
Yes,
you?
very close with my parents. Even with my dad, even though he lived in California, used to call him collect. And when they had calling cards, used to call,
Come on now.
yeah, the calling cards. And then when they allowed for you to like call online with like, think Yahoo Messenger and stuff like that, I used to
Mm,
call them through the computer. But my mom, very close to my mom. I'm still close with my parents to this day. Me and my mom used to go out on mother-daughter dates a lot
love
and
that.
spend a lot of quality time. I really have, like, when I say a great relationship with my family, I have a great relationship with my family. And that is for me my richness, like where I am blessed is that love. Now, I'm not saying like the relationship is perfect.
Of course,
Like
no,
everything was
yeah.
like,
Yeah, no, no.
rainbows and all that other stuff. But I mean, every family goes through things. So of course, there were times growing up that I wish that my father lived in the same city as me, but there were some people who didn't even have contact with their fathers, or they fathers were like, locked up or what have you. Um, but I still had a great communication with my dad. When I had my eighth grade prom, he flew down from California just to escort me to my prom, and everybody thought my dad was in high school, but but he wasn't. Like my birthdays, just big and extravagant birthday parties,
Mm,
limos and all, ponies, all of that. But the actual relationship was great, where we had great communication. I'm very blessed that my parents allowed me to speak and have conversations with them. Um, I didn't get spankings. I probably got like 3 spankings in my lifetime.
well, you're good. I had a few more than
And yeah, and I mean, but I would get on punishment. But for me, it was
that.
like punishment was nothing because I was a nerd anyway. So all I would do was just
Read.
read my books, and that was it. And if I couldn't talk on the phone with my friends, I would call my grandparents every day anyway. So I was still talking on the phone to all of my grandparents.
I
but
still want to talk.
but yeah, the relationship aspect is phenomenal with my parents, and I'm highly appreciative of them.
Love that. What was one lesson that you've learned from your dad that you still use today?
The power of perseverance.
Oh, why is that?
Yeah, yeah. He taught me that word when I was in the fourth grade. And he told me how important it is to always persevere. So that stuck with me. And that's one of my favorite words. And I carry that with me all of the time. Yeah.
Perseverance. I like that. Okay.
hmm
And one lesson you learned from your mum that you use today as well.
So with my mom is a giver.
Okay.
And yes, she's in so are my grandmothers and everything. Like I come from a family of givers. But with my mom, she gives even to those who have wronged her. So she taught me the power of forgiveness.
Mm,
Mhm.
forgiveness is not very easy. So I'm
No,
definitely hearing you.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely not. Because when I was younger, I used to hold grudges. Yeah, I was bad. Yeah, when I was younger, I used to hold grudges. I have since
What kind of
evolved.
grudges were you holding, Tranika? Huh?
Somebody, like, if you cross me and I don't deal with you anymore, then
Wash your
that's
hands of them.
it. Like you don't get a second chance at me. That's
Mm.
yeah, that's how I was when I was younger.
Why were you like that? If you were to be self-reflective, which I know you are, so why were
hmm
you like that? Why were you?
Maybe it's a family thing.
Mhm.
My Haitian side.
Okay. Okay. Is that from mom or dad?
But
Which one? Who
my,
gave you
my
those
dad
special skills?
my dad is Haitian. My dad is Haitian. But
Okay.
it's not a great trait to have. So when I was in college, I recognized that that's not a great trait to have. So I asked God to work with me on that, because it's not good to have that in your heart. So
Mm.
yeah. But when I was younger, yeah, you cross me, I won't even talk to you.
I get
Like,
it. I
yeah.
get it. All right, can I share something with you?
Go ahead.
Fantastic. So,
Mhm.
so we've been in talk for about 40 minutes, and and I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing with me. I can't help but feel there's something not being told to me.
Okay,
I'm just
like
gonna be
that.
honest with you. I don't know. There's an impregnable fortress that you're giving me, which is really, really. This is my own personal thoughts. This is no one else. This is me. This is me being me, right? And I
Go
could be
ahead.
projecting. So I'm gonna
It's
be honest with you. I could be
okay.
projecting. I'll leave that open. But I feel like I'm not getting a depth from you. So you can go deep because you're
Mhm,
self-reflective and you're aware. But I feel
mhm.
like I'm getting. I get somewhere, and then you kind of give me rainbows and clouds and blue skies and sun. But I feel like, and I'm not trying to look for any trauma per se. I'm looking for something a little bit more deeper. And so I feel like I'm not getting that. Almost as if the answers I'm getting are real lovely, real nice and everything. But I feel this, I feel like almost as if like I haven't, I haven't, I haven't gone deeper with you. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. You know what I mean? So it may be just me and I may be projecting, but I usually I would happily ask questions, but I feel like if I keep asking questions, I will not get the answer. So I wanted to ask directly. I
Okay.
feel like I'm hitting something. Am I? Am I?
I don't know what
Am I
you're hitting.
yeah. Talk to me. I don't know if that's. Am I? Do you feel like I'm off? Am I? Is that?
Yeah, because
You know?
I don't understand. You just admitted that I'm over here being vulnerable, so I don't
Mm.
understand. What are you trying to what are you trying to get at?
I feel like. How do I say? I feel like. How do I best explain this? And someone said I want you to cry. I don't want you to cry. No. Um.
You say you don't want me to cry?
No, the audience was saying, "Do I want it to cry?"
Oh.
No, that's not what I want. I don't want anyone to have tears. I think sometimes, like what I'm looking for from a person is there's a bit more, right? So like because everything has been presented as rainbows and sun and everything's perfectly good, and I think that's where I'm struggling to identify at that moment because life is really not rainbows and sunshine
I
from
mean, which I
from what I'm
admitted. I did say
yeah.
that.
And I think that's where I'm not connecting with you. So usually when people okay, so let me give you an example so I can maybe make it very clear, and it's not me coming at you, it's just me just
No, no,
observing.
no, no, I'm not taking it that way. I'm trying to understand.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
like, okay, so if I tell you a story and say, okay, so you know what, I might tell a story and say, hey, you know what, I cussed somebody out,
Okay.
and that's me cussing. I cussed them out, and I'll say, listen, I said this and I cussed them out, right?
Okay.
So instead of that's what I would say, right? And that's what I think a lot of people would say. I would cuss somebody out, and then that would be them presenting themselves already as not being perfect. But when you tell a story, you tell a story I want to call it quote unquote rainbows and sunshine, and then you tell
Okay.
me, but I'm not perfect. And I think that makes it very difficult to understand why you're not perfect because when you tell a story, you tell a story perfect, and then you tell us, but I'm not perfect, or this situation is not perfect, or the relationship
Okay.
is not perfect, rather than just giving us a story which is not perfect. So then it makes it very hard to identify with the issue because you didn't give us a story that was perfect. You just told us were perfect. You know what I mean? So that's why sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not identifying. I feel like I'm not, and it could be me. I could be projecting. That's just me, and it could be my way of thinking. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So yeah, I don't know if that's,
No, I understand
you
where
know what
you're
I mean?
coming from.
Does that
I
does
got
that
you.
does that make sense? Am I?
Yeah, it makes perfect
You
sense.
know?
Mhm.
Sorry, it's just because I was like, I don't know how to. You know what I mean? I thought I'd be better to be a bit more direct and say it.
No,
Just
I
like I
appreciate
was.
I actually like when people are direct with me. I don't like BS stuff. I don't like for people to lie to me.
Mm.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna ask a direct question.
Okay.
You're very nice. You're very kind.
Thank you.
Do people like see that and be like, this isn't the real you? And if they do, how do you react to that when they say that?
Actually, I don't get that in my real life.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get that at all in my real life. If you look at, you know how like you have like yearbooks and stuff, and kids sign your things.
Mm.
Everyone always, say the same thing about me being nice and kind because that's just who I am. Genuinely, I don't have a reason to just be mean to people.
I
Like
get it.
that's just not me. I'm a non-confrontational person.
Mm.
Um, I don't like tension, but that does not mean that if you come at me that I won't defend myself, kind of
Mm.
thing. It's just that I don't like messiness. I don't like stuff like that. So I like to be kind. Like I was raised to be kind and polite. So I don't know. I don't walk around with a chip on my shoulder. Um, yeah. I mean, if you are close to me, then you'll see that this is who I am. I don't have anyone who experience me on day-to-day basis that feel like it's not genuine because this is me. I don't know.
I
I don't
appreciate
know
it.
how to, I don't
No,
know
I appreciate it.
how to explain it. This is
No,
just
no, 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 no. I think
yeah.
you explained it. I think you explained it quite well. Okay, tell me about. Okay, so obviously, listen, you're a beautiful woman. So I'm sure
Thank
you were
you.
not short of tutors of my particular kind gentlemen. I mean, men, by the way, not kind, but men in general, who came after you. What was? Talk to us about your first love. Yeah, talk to us about your first love. What was that like for Tranika? You know what I mean?
Puppy love or real love?
Puppy love, baby, first love. You know when you fell in. You know.
So I was in middle school. I was in the eighth grade, and yeah, it was my first little puppy love, and we were together for like over a year, and he broke
Mm.
my heart.
Oh.
Yeah, he broke my heart. He cheated on me,
Oh.
and I
That little
found
boy.
out. I found out by going through his email.
That's how they called me too.
his Yahoo account. I was like, you know what? I remember him telling me his password. Let me see if this thing works. But I learned a very valuable lesson at a young age. When you go looking for stuff, you're gonna surely find it. So you got to ask yourself, are you prepared for what you're gonna see?
Wait, so what prompted you to go into the Yahoo though? I mean, I got caught the same way, so I'm wondering what prompted you to go to Yahoo.
Um,
Yahoo been messing us up, guys. Yahoo needs
so
stronger passwords.
yeah, so what happened was my best friend, the high school that she went to, she rode this bus, and this girl was talking about my boyfriend, and she was like
Mm.
asking the girl questions like, is he da 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 da? And she was like, yeah, how do you know him? So, so she came back and she told me, and I met the girl, and we talked, and we was like, "Oh, we gonna set him up." So,
Hey,
we gonna
ladies.
get I called them trying to see like what's going on. Like, are you going to the skating rink tonight? And
Hmm.
so me and the girl and my best friend made plans to go to the skate rink together.
And
So I
with
was like,
this
let me
story,
go
this the
through his email. Just being young and dumb.
I get it.
But yeah, it was good times. But yeah, he broke my heart. But I was crazy about him. My first little puppy love. And the thing is, he was very like by the time we got into high school, we initially went to two different high schools, and
Oh,
but he was very popular because he ran track and good looking dude or whatever. So everybody knew that he was cheating on me. Everybody knew. Everybody from other schools knew, my school, and people, no one wanted to tell me. And I was
that's the
like,
worst one.
well, yes. I was like, well, why did anyone want to tell me? Like, I want to know. Like, somebody should tell me. But then,
Please,
yeah, but after that little relationship, that's when Pimp Says Sneaker came out.
come on.
That's what I call myself, Pimp Says Sneaker, when I was younger. And even created an AOL account, Pimp Says Sneaker.
You gonna get y'all's.
But yeah, after my first heartbreak with him, my first puppy love, that's when I was just like, I'm gonna just give love a pause, kind of thing. But then it also taught me a lesson about, keeping whatever I have going on private.
Yeah.
So it's not for the world to know.
Mm. No, that's real. I mean, like I said, I tell a story on my YouTube channel all the time. Listen, when I got played, and I felt like everybody knew about
Mhm.
me, and it just makes you feel nuts because it's like, who knew and didn't say nothing? And sometimes, I mean, of course, people are not always your friend, not always close to you enough. They are close to other person, whatever, so they can't say it. But it just makes you feel crazy in those moments because you're like everyone knew, and they're probably laughing at me, or they're probably sniggering or saying something. You know what I mean? I just thought it was.
Mhm.
I ain't gonna lie to you. That's the part that made me more insane than anything else. Because it's like people are looked you in the face and they know and they ain't saying nothing. Like, I don't know. It
Yeah.
was just, yeah, it was heartbreaking. Okay, so after the first love,
Mhm.
okay, first puppy love, you know
Yes.
what I mean? What was the next relationship that you got into, and what was that like?
So then I entered a rebound relationship, and that taught me a
Come on
very
now.
good lesson about
Okay.
don't do that. Oh my gosh. And I was a hot mess. I was a hot mess.
Nothing wrong with that at all, baby. Nothing wrong with that at all, baby. We all need a good
I
rebound.
told you I got
Okay.
stories, but yeah, so after my relationship with my first puppy love, I entered into a rebound relationship, and then I cheated on that guy.
Hey, listen.
Yeah, and I, you know,
Tell us about that, sis. We need to know.
oh,
You see, because they was getting us
okay.
brothers as if we the bad ones, but y'all be hurting us too. Just on the saying,
Oh,
you know.
I'm not, what am I trying to say? I don't hide that when I was younger, I used to do like some trifling stuff. I don't hide
Hey,
that. Like
what,
it's
what,
like, that's a part of my story. It's part of life, like just because I did that doesn't mean that that's who I am now, kind of thing. But what happened was I was still in love with my first puppy love dude, and it was my birthday fell on spring break,
mm,
and it was my 16th birthday party that I was planning at the very last minute, as always. So my birthday is April 3rd. So
okay.
On April Fools, my boyfriend at the time, he called me to pretend like he was breaking up with me. So I knew
Mm,
his behind was joking, but I was like, oh, this is great because I'm gonna pretend to take his behind seriously.
come on now.
So I can
Dark
invite
arts.
my ex-boyfriend to my birthday party.
Hey, Tranika, you got skills.
Yeah,
Okay.
so my mom went behind my back and invited my boyfriend to my birthday party. She was like, he's probably gonna be the only one that buy you a gift. Oh,
Hey,
I'm so mad at my mom.
she messed up the game.
Yeah, but luckily, because of my best friend, my ex-boyfriend knew I had a boyfriend because she told him. I was like,
Okay.
girl. So he came to my party first. So he knew I had a boyfriend. So by the time my actual boyfriend showed up, because my ex-boyfriend showed up to the party first, and then when my actual boyfriend showed up, I'm like, going this way. I was like, oh, Tanika, there he is. So I, leave the ex to go to that one, and it was crazy. But he didn't find out until like a year after. People told him what I did. And that,
Ah.
he was, he was crazy about me, and yeah, and I broke his heart, and this is not something that I'm proud of. So
I get it.
from that, I learned not to do rebound relationships anymore. Like, give
That's
yourself
fair.
time to
Time.
kind of like recruit, because you know that's not cool.
What would you say is an out of all the relationships you've been in, what would you say is the best relationship you've been in, and why was that the best relationship you've been in so far? What would you say is?
The best relationship. So I had this ex that we used to kind of date when we were in high school, and we reconnected when we were in after I graduated from college. So like years later, we reconnected. But I just felt like when we were together, like I felt seen. It was a relationship that was reciprocal. It was definitely one hand washes the other kind of thing. It wasn't one sided because I'm very big on partnership. And so the communication was amazing. His emotional IQ was good, and we had pretty good conflict resolution skills. We laughed more than anything. I could be silly with him because I'm a very silly person, like very silly. So I need somebody that can have fun with me and do like little silly stuff. Like when I say, "Hey, come on, let's go kiss in the rain," and go do that. Or, "Hey, let's make a tent inside the house and watch scary movies." Like I need somebody to do little crazy silly stuff with me, but also be big on going to the beach and have intellectual conversations with that person and be able to
Okay.
talk about God with that person. And yeah, it was a pretty good relationship for the most part. And then, we were young, and it didn't work out. Like, he was going through some things, and at that time so was I. So um I felt like it was best that we experienced whatever we were going through separately.
That's fair. I appreciate it. So what then takes you to Ready to Love? Like what takes you to Ready to Love? Because, it seems like you're a very intelligent, warm, beautiful woman. You know what I mean? What takes you to Ready to Love for you? Why Ready to Love?
Okay, so last year it was
Baby.
not good.
It was a trenches. Uh-huh.
I even told some of the story on the show that I really did cry for every day for 3 months.
Mm,
It's because the year prior, I was dating someone who was younger than me, and trying something new. And he was a great guy, very very great guy, and things seemed very promising between us. But then he felt like I deserved more than him. I deserved better, so he broke up with me.
that's fair.
And my heart was just like, okay, God, like I'm just tired of this crap. Like, this is enough.
Mm,
So I started. Oh wait, 1 second.
that's all right. Do your thing.
It's a little loud. 1 second.
That's okay. I'll mute for you. It's getting interesting now. It's getting interesting now, guys, isn't it? I like it. If you guys are just joining us, you were talking to Tranika from Ready to Love, and we just got a nice little background of Tranika, get to understand her a little bit more, and then obviously we're now going to talk a little bit more about Ready to Love. So, yeah, if you're just joining us, welcome as well. Yes, Tranika, sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's
But
okay.
yeah, so what I was saying, yeah, so when
Ready to Love, sorry.
January,
Yeah, my apologies.
so when January came around, I was literally like wrestling with God. Was even went out on some dates, and they were like horrible. When I say
Mm,
horrible, horrible, to the point where one guy invited another woman on the date.
another woman on a date. What was he trying to do? Sister wives.
I don't know what he was trying to do. But anyway, so because of all of that, I literally cried for every day for 3 months leading up to my 35th birthday. And I was just like, okay, God, this is enough. And I said, close my heart. I told him to close my heart, and I meant it. And I said, God, don't send a guy my way. Like, I don't want to see a guy, smell God. Like, don't even do it. So, anyways, there was one guy that was interested in me, and I was like, listen, I got two rules: don't have folk and don't catch feelings. Because
Wait,
I was not. I was
wait.
like, listen, I'm not in a space that I want to
I
be
hear
in a
you.
relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
raw.
I was like, we can have fun, we can go out and hang out, but I don't want anything serious. And
Mm.
so when I felt like he was catching feelings, I'd be like, wait, how do you feel about me? And he'll tell me, I'd be like, oh, sounds like you're falling in love. What are my rules?
Maybe you sound like you and me can get along just fine out here.
but
Shanika.
but
Hmm.
that's just me being honest. But towards the end of the year, in December, I fell asleep with the TV on, and I woke up in the middle of the night and Ready to Love was on. And so after Ready to Love came on, it was what is that? Uh, Shoot, it's like at the tip of, like I see it. What is it called? Black love. Black love.
Oh yeah, Black Clover. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
black love. Yeah. So there was this couple that was on Black Love, and the most beautiful couple I had ever seen, and they had experienced a stillbirth. And the way that they were just so loving towards each other through all of that, and just how they spoke of each other and how they held each other throughout the whole interview was the most, I felt blessed by witnessing their love. So I in turn prayed to God that night, and I was like, God, you can open up my heart again. Like I want to know what that love feels like, and I feel like I am deserving of that. I also throughout that year focused more on me, my healing process, and because I don't want to enter into a relationship feeling broken, So that was another reason why I was not trying to enter into anything serious, knowing that my heart needed to be
Heal.
healed. Yeah. So I woke up the next day, and I was like, let me see if Ready to Love come to Miami. So I looked online, and they were not. So the next month, which was January of this year, is when three people sent me the casting for the show.
Oh.
Three different people. One of them being my mom, another one being my best friend who was on the show, Jessica, who's the pilot. So I was like, okay, God, is this a sign for me to do this? So I was
Ah,
like,
I
okay,
get it.
I'll sign up, because I was like, wait a minute, just a month ago they weren't even doing it. So that's how I was like, how I started the process for Ready to Love, because I'm like, what, why not? Why not?
Mm. You know,
Mhm.
what? You're not the first person that's fallen asleep and ready to love. You know what? God must be lit. He wants you guys to be asleep because some of you haven't been listening to the signs. That's the reason why. Because someone else said they fell asleep with ready to love. And I said, "Yep, this is a sign. God is telling you some of you need to sleep. Okay, you need some dreams." Now,
Mhm.
okay, I get that. I totally get that. So then obviously then you apply for the show in the end. So no,
Yeah.
they sent it to you. They sent it to you. Actually, they sent it to you. The three people sent it to you,
Uh-huh.
and then obviously you then obviously do your application, you apply for the show, you get through, and then what are your expectations? Like, what is your immediate expectations? Like, you're applying for the show. What are your expectations and the hopes as you apply for the show?
So I just went in there open, not really knowing what to expect. Um, just going there open. Even when it came down to filling out the application, I was nervous. And I started not to do it, but one of my good girlfriends, we went out to the beach that night, and sometimes I go out to the beach for prayer. And we went out to the beach and we prayed, and brought her back home, and she was like, "No, you're gonna fill out this application." And she put her laptop in my lap, and she was like, "You're gonna stay here, and you're not leaving until you finish this." And so I was like, "Oh, I don't know." I cried. Then she came out with a devotional book. She was like, "Read this." I was like, and so I started typing, and then God convicted me, and was like, "No, you need to be
Mm,
vulnerable." And so
yeah,
that's what I did. And I spoke my truth and talked about how I cried for every day, 3 doggone months. And
bro.
I told all I could give is my truth. And that's what I gave.
Mm.
So,
Just to quickly scoop back, when you say
mhm.
obviously that you needed to be vulnerable, you felt like God told you to be vulnerable.
Uh-huh.
How did you feel about having to open up like that? Because it sounds like that's something that was you were holding dear to yourself, and I understand that as
Yes.
well. Being coaxed into having to kind of share that story because it's not easy to share those kind of stories. How did you feel about that? Having to share those kind of stories.
Um, you know, Initially writing it, I was a little, terrified,
Mm,
because like telling some strangers that I cried every day
crazy.
for 3 months. I mean, that was that's my truth. So yeah, it felt very uncomfortable for me. Very uncomfortable. And I mean, I know what the root of that is because growing up, I've always been the person that people come to whenever they're going through things. But when I was going through something, like when my grandfather who raised me, when he was dying, I was told to be strong for everybody. So I didn't have that. So I kind of, I think that's also another reason why I go inward. I used to be the type of person when I would go through things, I would self-isolate and just be me and God, and that's it, until therapy came into my life. So it's Jesus and therapy for me. And now I'm able
Amen.
to, communicate things better as far as like how I am feeling or if like I'm not okay. But yeah, it's just, a journey for me. So that was a hurdle that I had to kind of go over, and just moving through feeling uncomfortable, because I definitely.
You caught me on guard with that one.
It's the honest to God truth. And then when I made it to the next step and they wanted more information,
Pass the tissue.
and I was like, why I gotta say this, God? I'm so serious. That's the honest to God truth. So serious.
No, can I just say I really appreciate that you shared that, right? I really do appreciate it, because that is what I was wanting from you, because you are strong, right? But it's like you're a beautiful, delicate flower at the same time. And I think I wanted to get to that beautiful, delicate flower, and you just shared something which was so powerful, which is you are constantly having to be strong for everyone else.
Yes.
And I think that is something that I can see, right? 'Cause especially if you're firstborn, you gotta do some. You just gotta get on with it. You haven't got a choice. You're experiencing the world for the first time in everything. And so you said something really key, and I don't know if you want to share a bit about that.
Oh,
But
I don't
you said,
mind.
obviously,
I think there's power in testimony.
yeah. You said about obviously having to almost be strong, and people telling you to just kind of not suck it up, but almost kind of like you said about your grandfather, I think you were saying, and then having to be strong in that moment. I wanted to know a bit more about that, what that was like for you. You know what I mean?
Oh, so when my grandfather passed away, I was 15 years old.
Sorry to hear that.
Prior to him, sorry, the machine, because I'm in the office.
You're good.
But what was I gonna say? Prior to him passing away, when I was in the 8th grade, that's when I was told he had leukemia. Well, thanks to reading books, when I was in 5th grade, I read a fictional story about a little girl who had a sister who eventually passed away from leukemia. So I understood what leukemia was and what it looked like because of that book. So when I look back, I feel like God kind of like prepared me a little bit. So when my grandfather was dying, oh my gosh, a year up into it, he went from being the person that used to always want to do everything for me. Now I used to be like, Granddaddy, I can do it. Like, I can do it, Granddaddy. Like, I couldn't even want me to walk home from school. And I'm like, Granddaddy, I can walk home from school. Like one of my punishments literally used to be I could not walk home from school.
Because you loved it so much.
Yeah. So it got to a point where my grandfather was the person who used to do a lot of stuff for me. And now the tables had turned, and I'm now doing for him, cooking for him, putting Noxemo on his skin. And he was already a thin man to begin with, but when he was going through everything, he started to look like a skeleton. So that was kind of like hard for me to go through, just to witness that, but still be strong for him. Then at nighttime, I'd be in my room and I could hear him in the other bedroom, screaming out like, I see the angels, Lord, I see the angels. And I used to just cry. I used to cry. And that was like the onset of my depression. Just seeing him, just kind of just wilt away.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget when we took him to the hospital for the last time he got into the car, my mom's car, which when I was in college later became my car. Um, and I helped him into the back seat, and he looked at me. He held my hand and he looked me in the eyes and he said, "I'm not going to be here next week." That was on a Friday. That following Friday is when he had a brain aneurysm. Well, actually, no, he died on that Friday, but 2 days prior, on October 3rd, he had a brain aneurysm. And on October 5th is when he passed away, and I felt his last heartbeat. So that was like his death really affected me because he was like a father figure, you know?
Yeah.
My grandfather had always been in my life. I still carry his license in my wallet, you know, because I was definitely granddaddy's, little girl.
There you go.
And
Hmm.
yeah, it was always me and my granddaddy, me and my granddaddy. Even when I used to like get on his nerves, it's just me and my granddaddy. And but yeah, that really affected me, and I entered into a depression when I was young. And when he died, everybody was like, be strong for your grandma, be strong for your mom. And nobody was like, hey, let's be strong for Nika. Like, she was with him
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
most. So yeah, so I had to kind of navigate that pain. And I was in a dark hole for like 4 years. It was bad. But nobody knew. Nobody knew. And so from that, I learned how to just, press into God. And it made me feel like I couldn't go to anyone, because when I was going through it and if I tried to call one of my friends, they would always make it about them,
Hmm.
So go to family, you got to be strong. And so it's just kind of like, me always having like a strong personality since I was a little girl. I've always been very mature for my age. Always played with older kids because, like I said, I never
Yep.
really saw myself as a kid. So it's like, and I used to be a little bossy something. I used to be very bossy as a kid. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it taught me some lessons, and some very valuable lessons. And so going to therapy has been kind of like my outlet.
Yeah.
And I learned, since I felt like I lost myself in that season when I was a teenager, that I never want to go back into that place again. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that kind of happened after the last time I was raped.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
I mean, I can speak about it because, that's where the healing comes from, you know? So, like I said, I don't mind sharing my stories because there is power in testimony. So, when you say things like, oh, it just comes off as rainbows and all that other stuff, it's definitely not my intention. So, to come off that way, which is why I do say, like, hey, I overcome things, but I don't dwell in the pain, kind of thing. I confront it, I try to heal from it, pluck it at the root, and try to show other people that there's light at the end of the tunnel, because I know what it's like to be in darkness. And I know what it's like to feel like you're isolated on this island, even though you have people around you who love you. But sometimes people are in, their own feelings that they're unable to see what someone else is going
Hmm.
through. And it's, no one else's fault. But I'm very big on mental health. Very big on mental health. So that's why I feel like it's so important for people to go to therapy. Even nothing has to be wrong with you.
Hmm.
So sometimes therapy gives you the tools to navigate things that you probably didn't know how to properly navigate, and that
Hmm.
I'm grateful for.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. For giving us that perspective of yourself as well. And again, my condolences
Oh,
for you
so
in
thank
that
you.
situation as well. Yeah, because I know it's not an easy thing for you. And you said obviously, navigating that as well. I guess obviously tying that into, I guess, relationships, did that affect how you then dealt with relationships with the opposite sex later on in life as well?
To be honest with you, because I have such a great experience with like the men in my family, because remember I said it wasn't just, you know, my grandparents, like I had my uncles that helped raise me, my grandfathers. I have great examples of men, like loving, kind men, protective men that have been around me, that it showed me that not all guys are like that. So
Mm,
even though, that happened to me, I never looked at it as, oh no, I can't date anymore. Um, because I knew that there are some good men. Like I'm not the type of person to be like, oh, all niggas ain't shit.
in the trash.
I'm just like this nigga, sugar honey, I piss me off and play my city girls or something. But
So yeah.
but oh my gosh, play some Glorilla. I don't know, but in all seriousness, I'm grateful that it has not negatively affected me, and that I was still able to see that there are guys who are capable of having healthy relationships, who are not like that.
Mm, totally
But
understand that. So is that also a part of reason why you were saying just before the ready to love part, where you saying to gentlemen, you're not ready for relationships, you're trying to heal your heart, you just trying to be
yes,
in that space. Is that
yes,
why
because
that was
it's
happening? Yeah.
well, like I said before, when I was a teenager, that's when I
Mm,
learned like no rebound relationships.
yeah.
So I learned that lesson at a young age. And going back to me saying like I'm always self-reflecting, trying to improve. So when I tell you certain things, it's kind of like so you can see, like, connect the dots, how I still apply certain things and why I act you know to this day. So because I saw that going to rebound relationships just not it. um, and then going to therapy. I had my therapy session earlier today. It was the bomb.
Different
so
level.
um,
Mhm.
so yeah, it kind of like just showed me like sometimes you just have to take out time just to repair your heart and unplug and pour into you. Like you have to pour into you, and which is why I'm so grateful for last year, because it taught me how to pour into me at a greater level than I was doing before.
Mm, I love that. So
Mhm.
then now you're on ready to love. Okay,
Okay.
you're doing the work. You've done you're doing going through therapy. You've got a great story behind you as well in terms of your grandparents showing you love and affection and just
Mhm.
protecting you. And also you've gone through a few things as well in terms of like life experiences and life events that have been difficult to navigate. You get into ready to love. You get to the first place where there's a swimming pool
Yeah.
and you see him bodies. I
Uh-huh.
need to know first thoughts. What's going through your
Oh, I
mind,
felt like a kid in
please?
a candy store. Are you kidding me?
Come on now. Which candy was taking your eye? That's what I want to know.
Majority of them were. I mean, they're a great bunch of good looking men. So I was the third person to enter the house. So when I arrived, April and Samson were already sitting at the table. Then
Okay.
Justice came in, then Randall. Then after that, it was LJ. Like, they were bringing in more of the men one by one than the women at first. So I was like, ooh, ooh.
Hey, keep on coming, baby.
Yeah, so I'm just like, oh, okay.
I'm definitely with you. Keep the line coming.
Yeah, so I felt like a kid in the candy store. That's how I felt.
Okay. Who was the first one that, I say first one, by the end of the
Uh-huh.
first day, who would you say, had captured you or cultivated some interest from you? Who, by the first day that you guys are filming, who
So my
captivated
my
you?
three it was actually my three connections. It was Justice, Randall, and LJ.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we've been connected since day one.
Mm,
So on the
okay.
first day, I was able to talk to. all of the men except for Devin and I had great one-on-one conversations with all of them. But yeah, me and LJ, we talked for a long time. Randall and I, kept coming back to each other. Me and Justice, same thing throughout the day. Like, we were conversing a lot throughout the day, and I appreciated the fact that no matter what guy I was with, he would come in and check in on me. He'd be like, "Are you okay?" If he was across the other way, he'll look at me and be like, "Are you good?" And I appreciated that. It's like, okay.
Mm. I like that. I like that.
Mhm.
Obviously, your connection with Justice, we need to talk about it, okay? Because we, as an audience, were confused. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, we were confused.
Okay.
I need to know, Tranika, what did you see that we didn't see from the audience? Because they put a perspective on, so we don't know.
Hmm.
What did you see? What was it? What was it about Justice that made you two connect? Because at one point you defended him and said, "I see you, Justice." And we were like, "We don't see him."
Yeah.
So how do you see him? So what did you see, Tranika? We need to know.
Okay. So I saw his heart. Like I said,
Okay.
when I connect with people, I like to look at their heart space. And
Yeah.
so we were able to, have great conversation, especially since the first day, about his upbringing, his spirituality, my spirituality as well. And he's a gentleman. He also looks
Okay.
good and smells amazing.
Asking for his cologne, definitely.
Yeah, and I love that he, has always been protective of me, and he's very
Mm,
chivalrous. So that's, I'm very big on chivalry as well, and he speaks his truth, whether you like it or not. I like when
that's
people
true.
are, who are honest. Like, I have an immense amount of respect for people who are honest. Like, whether you think I'm going to like what you're going to say or not, like, I want to know, like, just keep it real with me. Just that's all I want. Just keep it
Mm.
real with me. That's it.
Hey, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Okay, so he kept it real, spirituality. So let me ask some really uh questions because that's based on what we saw. He spoke to April and talks about the cosmos and the cosmology, and when he was
The
sorry, when he was asked
cosmos.
about the cosmos, when he was asked
He's an
about marriage,
alien.
it was the answer was for us a little bit, it was
I get
around.
it.
So I want to
Yeah,
know,
I
when
get
you
it.
had did you have a conversation about marriage, and was it a bit more direct in terms of what he wanted in terms of potentially going into marriage and stuff? Because what we got was not that direct. So we want to know something. Was it that direct with him when you discuss things like marriage and futures?
Um, I would say it was kind of like, what did he tell me? We done had a whole bunch of
I
conversations with
understand.
people. So he's taking me back to the first day.
I got it.
The first day that happened months ago. Um, what did he tell me? So he did express to me his desire to, want to get to a place where he can be one with someone. And so
Okay.
his idea of oneness is not just, oh, we're married. No, it's really a connecting of two people, becoming one, and that you could really have an experience with that person on a spiritual level and
Mhm.
experience God through that union. So we did talk about that, and he did tell me that that was something that, you know he wanted.
I just feel like that answer is not. Do you not feel like do you not feel like even when you're saying that answer didn't, was it sufficeable, that answer for you? Was it sufficeable? Like, was that enough? I feel like that answer he gave you wasn't enough. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I may be going in my dark arts and my player ways, and my brain is thinking a bit too expansively. But that answer is it's very it's giving I'm gonna give you a little bit, but I'm not gonna give you everything. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it feels like. It's not everything. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Listen, after what I went through last year, I'm not thinking about marriage. So,
Okay, that's fair.
like, I
That's
don't,
fair. No, that's
yeah.
fair.
So it's just kind of like, I just genuinely just want companionship at this point. Just having a healthy relationship. I'm not trying to, that's not where I'm at. That's not where I'm at
Mm,
right now. But I can see how people could not be impressed with the answers that he gave other people.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
wait. Let's scoot back here. What are you looking for? I just realized something. Hold on a minute, Tranika. What are you looking for then?
I'm looking for in this season of my life, just
Yeah.
companionship. I used to be very anxious for marriage and kids and all that other stuff,
Okay.
which is why I'm grateful for last year that it took away all that anxiety. Like it'll happen when it happens. Right now,
Mm,
it's just like, can I enjoy you and you enjoy me? Can we go travel the world, have fun, create memories, laughter, build together? That's what I'm looking for in this season of my life. I'm not trying to get into marriage like that. If that was the
okay.
case, I would have done a reality show that was you get married in the end.
Mm,
That's not what I want. I feel like that'd just be too much for me coming out of what I came out of last year. It's like, just take it slow and easy. But that
that's
does
fair.
not mean that I'm trying to be with somebody for like 5-10 years and not be married
Wait.
either. No, that just means like, okay, let's, of course, if I'm going to be with someone, see where their intention is with me. But I'm not going into this thinking like, oh yeah, I want to marry you. First, I got to see if I like you.
Okay. No,
So
that's fair. That's fair.
yeah.
That's fair. Okay, so would you say that maybe not now? Like I don't expect you to go on the show and be like looking for a husband like per se, but
Hmm.
would that be is that the ultimate end goal though? So if you were to have companionship, is that the ultimate end goal, or could you be satisfied with just the companionship? That's what I think I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, I mean, eventually, if we are definitely compatible and I feel like I could see myself spending the rest of my life with this person, then yes, I would want the end goal to be in marriage. But I'm not going to press for marriage in the beginning. But I do want to know whether or not a person wants that for themselves, because I think that that's important. Like if their end goal is eventually marriage, for themselves, if that's what they want for their lives. But if they feel like they don't want that for their lives, then that means that eventually it will come to an end with me and that
Mm.
person if I'm with them for X amount of years and ain't nothing happening. First of all, I don't even think I would allow it to go that far because I'd
Okay.
be like,
No,
okay, you wasted my time. What are we doing?
mm. Okay, no, that's cool. Okay, I think I understand now why you and Justice can get along, because I was trying to figure out where, because it didn't sound like he was on marriage right now. It didn't sound like that was what his end goal was. Like judging by the answer he gave for April, because we didn't hear that conversation with anyone else. And I want to know, was he going to pay for your dates, or were you going to do 50-50? I'm not even being paid. I'm being really real now, because he said
Just
about he ain't paying for no dates. So,
listen,
girl, was he paying for your dates? That's all I
Justice
want to know.
he is not a cheap man. He's not a cheap man.
But was he paying for your dates? That's what I'm asking.
Nobody pays for our dates on the doggone show.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But did he say he would pay for your dates? Because he said quite avidly for the rest of other ladies, he ain't paying for the dates. So for you specifically,
I
would he
mean,
pay for your
I
dates?
don't feel, I don't even think me and Justice even had a conversation about, oh, are you going to pay for my date or not? Like,
Okay.
I don't have conversations. I don't even
Did that
think
not,
to
does that not
have
come up?
that kind of conversation with someone.
Didn't that not come up though after the girls hotted him up? I mean, if the
I'm
after the
talking
girls
about
hotted him
you're
up,
talking about like me and Justice did me and Justice have that conversation
yeah,
about,
I don't think it
hey,
would have come up. After the
and
girls hotted him up.
no, first of all,
No.
if you think I was really paying attention to what those women were saying in the women's lounge, you kind of
Mm.
I don't care.
With strong water, crispy.
And that's no shade or anything to them.
I
Their
know.
experience, is their experience with that person. But yeah, I'm not going to. I just feel like this: if the person isn't being disrespectful
I
to
hear
the
you.
women, they're not hurting the women, they just don't like what he's saying,
Mhm.
then it is my duty to get to know him and have that experience for myself and not go off of their experience, because I don't know, maybe they're not compatible.
I
So
agree.
that's probably why they're having whatever experience they're having. And that's fine, cuz like, my experience for instance with Mike is not the same experience as Kayla and Brandy's.
That's agree. Mhm.
So if I say I dislike Mike because of XY reason, it's not going to stop them from being together.
Mm.
So yeah, that's what I mean by like I wasn't. paying
That's
attention
fair.
to what the women were saying in the women's lounge, nor was I
Okay,
sharing too much either.
that's fair. So
Mhm.
did because he also said as well he ain't calling nobody,
Oh,
or at
he
least he wasn't calling
calls.
some people. So was he
That's not
calling you?
true. That's
Okay, so
not
he was
true.
calling you because he told Tommy very clearly he ain't really been calling the women, so he's not pursuing. So was he pursuing you?
So, okay, so when we were okay, so let me make this clear because there's
Please
the show
make
and
it
then
as
there's
clear as
real
you
life.
can, baby.
So
Because my water's
I
crispy
would
right now.
say Justice is not a cheap man, and Justice
Yes.
does make phone calls.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So he. So
Yes.
are you saying that he pursued you though?
Yes,
I'm gonna
I
say it one more
would say
time.
that.
So he pursued you.
I answered.
Okay. I'm
Mhm.
gonna go with the answer. Okay. He pursued you. So
But
then,
yeah, so
what's all the
with
theatrics about?
the
I
what?
know you probably can't answer that, but I'm gonna ask him when he comes on. But then the theatrics of I don't pursue, I'm not calling. What
Um,
you know what I mean? Like
when we were filming, so majority of the time that we were filming, no, he did not call, right? So we've already talked about like his position on calling, and I kind of figured that's the type of person that he was anyway. When it comes to there's a whole bunch of women. I mean, there were more women than there were men, and being on the phone with different people all the time, it does get taxing. Like it really
that's
is
fair.
like speed dating on steroids. Then you got to film, then you got to keep up with your work. Like it becomes a lot. So I can see how his rebelliousness towards the process would irk viewers and even some of the women. I get it, but I guess because, usually I just come from a place of trying to understand people and feeling confident in whatever connection is that we do have, that it was like, okay, shoot, that's less phone call for me.
Mhm.
But I know I'm weird. Like my way of thinking is not like everybody else's. And it's not to say that anyone's way of thinking is better or worse. It's just I know that mine is not a part of the majority in that respect.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Just to make it clear again, I just want to understand, make sure I got what you said because I don't want to
Hmm.
misinterpret. I know me, my hearing, sometimes things we running.
You're
So
fine.
just to clarify again, so he was calling. He wasn't calling some other people in the process, but he was calling you in the process. During the process, was he calling you?
No, so Justice didn't call me until after our bubble date. That's
After which day?
when Justice called me. But every time we were together, me
Yeah.
and Justice were, linked up. We would be talking, whatever. And so, yeah.
When was that date? Sorry, I
The
forgot.
bubble date, that's when
Yeah.
Justice was up for elimination, and I told him that he was safe. That was the bubble date.
Okay. Oh, okay. So then after that, then he started giving calls. That's when the
Then
call started.
then Justice hit me up on the phone.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't like it. Truly can't go be honest with you. I love you, and I think
No,
you're great.
that's
I
fine. I'm
don't
just
like it.
all I could do is just tell you the
It's
truth.
making me
Like,
feel
I
so
mean,
great.
I'm not trying to make you like it or dislike it. I'm just giving you the real.
No,
Like,
it's making me
what
feel.
happened?
It's making me feel like this is the bare minimum. I feel like I'm getting like, yo. I feel like he's doing the bare minimum from what I'm hearing. I could be wrong, but from what I'm hearing, it sounds like the
To me,
bare
all the men did the
minimum.
bare minimum. If you want to be honest,
That's
none
what
of
I'm
them
trying to
was
say,
great.
baby. That's man, Cali, come on, that's what I'm trying to say. That's
So
what I'm trying to say.
it's like, like,
They're on the same level.
yeah, I mean, we're on a show. There's reality and there's reality TV. So
Hmm.
you get watered down versions of stuff. Yeah,
I hear that. I hear that.
so
Okay,
it's
that's
like
fair.
I ain't holding it against them. It's whatever. So for me, it was about communication. So we had a talk about him and the phone call situation thing, and he was the one who brought it up. I didn't bring it up
Mm.
because, like I said, it was less of a person that I had to talk to on the phone.
One less person, it means less people to cycle through. I get you.
But I
I get
knew
you.
that, we had a conversation about feeling like our connection was solid enough. So, I mean, he was confident in it, and so was I. So it was okay. We're on the same page. Okay, let's keep it moving.
Okay, now I got now I got you. No, I got you. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, now I
So
got it. Yeah.
it's like okay, we're good.
Okay, I'm hearing you.
Hmm.
All right, cool. We'll leave justice there then. I
Okay.
appreciate you sharing those thoughts about your connection with justice. Okay, so you had another connection with another brother because I want to leave Randall to last because, but I want to talk about LJ because LJ is a sweet boy from the islands. That boy knows how to sweet
That's
talk the
Mr.
panties of people.
Loverman.
That boy is one dangerous brother. I love it.
Yes, he
Um,
is.
you had a connection with him.
Yes,
What
that's
was
my
the
LJ.
Yes, what drew you to LJ? You see, your eyes even lit up when you saw the LJ. What
Yeah.
was it about LJ that drew you in? What was it about
Well,
LJ?
he's a man from the Caribbean. So
Hmm.
that was also something, that I was looking for as well, because I feel like people who are from the Caribbean I can relate to them on a different level considering I'm Haitian American. So, there's a lot of cultural things that come into play with that as well, with how you view life, and just he's a charmer. He's definitely Mr. Smooth. I loved our conversations. He's very beautiful person inside and out, has a beautiful heart. He has a nurturing spirit as well. He's a great listener. He's fine. I just like when you're with LJ, it's just like, oh, everything's good.
That's
He's
what it
also
means.
protective. Yeah. And I like that he is peaceful. You know,
Mm,
he's a peacemaker like I am too, but, you know, that don't mean he's a softie.
mm. He really is.
Yeah. Huh?
I said he really is. I like his energy. I'll be honest with
Yeah,
you.
it's beautiful energy. So we talked for a very long time, since day one, and I like the fact that LJ made it known, like like he likes me, and
Mm,
he would, no matter who I was with, LJ. Can I get Tranika for a minute? Like he would always come
mm.
looking for me, come grab me, and I'm like, oh man, looking for me? What is going
Man, I pursue it. Hmm.
on? Yeah, so I appreciate that. It's great confidence. I think that's so sexy as well. He is also intelligent, but he's just overall a great guy. Yeah,
I love that.
and very
I love
affectionate because I'm a sensual person, and I'm a very affectionate person. He's very affectionate, and I like that. I like affection.
I love that. Now, obviously, clearly, LJ is a smooth operator. He even did a little sing song. You guys had a little sing song as
Yes,
well.
we
Uh,
did.
That was a lovely moment.
We're making up songs. I noticed that when we were at the all white party, that there was a music room. So I was like, "Come over here, let's get away." Because at first there was no cameras over there. I was like, "Come on, let's go over here." And so there was a guitar and a piano, and I was like, "Let's make up a song together." And remember I said like I like somebody who can be silly with me and just go along with my little silly antics, and he goes along with my little silly antics, and we were over there talking about like his career in music, and I asked him like, what was the wildest thing that has ever happened while he performed. I was like, do women throw their panties at you or something? And he told me like, yeah, that has happened. So when he plays the guitar and I say like, take the panties down, I was referencing that
That's
conversation.
his
I was being
moves.
facetious. So I was like, dang, that's all they showing. Like I wasn't talking about my feelings. I was just being funny.
Hey,
But
we
yeah,
weren't judging. We understood. You know what I mean? We
us,
understood.
some people just don't. You tell when people are joking. Yeah,
Some people
whatever.
took it literally.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I get it. LJ's a smooth operator, like I said, and you had that moment where the ex came.
Mhm.
You called it out. You saw it quite instinctively, intuitively, so I should say. What was it that you saw that made you ask that question? Because it was, it just seemed like you just had that intuition at that moment. You picked it up. You said, "Yeah, this." I smell that stuff in the air. So what was it that,
There's a
prompted
lot of
the
times that I picked up on stuff and they just never aired it.
mm,
Just like speaking of general, like different things. But yeah, I spoke to LJ the night before, and I asked him who he was bringing, and he told me who he was bringing, and I was like, well, I would have rather, you would have like brought your ex-wife, because I mean y'all were married, like I want to see the ex-wife. But when he told me who he was bringing, I was like, I have a feeling y'all still involved with each other, like y'all still having sex, so I'm gonna ask her. And he was like, all right, you can ask. I was like, okay. So I did. And maybe he thought
and
I was, lying, but I'm the type of person, if I tell you I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
come on now.
So I asked him. I mean, I asked her, and I appreciated her honesty, and I appreciated, like, that was very bold of him. And like I said before, I like a person who's honest with me. And yeah, it came out, but I don't know. I just might had that feeling. And then when I saw her, I mean, she's a very beautiful woman, but you can kind of like feel, the energy. And I'm empathic, so I can always feel other people's like emotions and stuff like that. And being on that show was like on overdrive. I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, that was actually a fun date for me. Me and Looney, we had fun on that date. And the reason why we had fun, because it was so hilarious. Like, oh my gosh, is this for real? But they were answering the questions honestly, and it was like, whoa, gotta respect that. Gotta respect that. And I just feel like if anybody else was on that date, it would have probably went left. But I respected the honesty, because we were asking a whole bunch of questions like, if I go to his house, am I going to see hair on his pillow? Is your toothbrush going to be, on the counter? Are your personals going to be your pads or tampons? Are they going to be in the cabinet in the bathroom? Just asking all kind of questions.
Did that rule LJ out when you were asking those questions and you found out that there had been some antics with the ex? Did that rule him out? And if it didn't, or if it did, why
No,
so
it
for you?
did. It did not immediately rule him out. So after that date, I needed the clarification from him. As
I hear
far
that.
as like where did they stand? Because that's not gonna fly with me. If you're trying to pursue me seriously, if there's feelings involved, this is not gonna fly with me. Like I don't play that. So, and then I was taught by a lot of elder women, um, that you can't expect a man to not be sexing on somebody when you first meet them.
Mm.
So I guess because of what I have been taught, growing up, that it's just like, okay, here it is in front of me. Y'all not together, but y'all still getting it on. I mean, you got an itch, right? I get it.
Yeah, that's fair. No,
Like,
that's fair.
so yeah, so it's like, okay, but what's going to happen moving forward? Are you going to still do this? Because if this is the case, then there's no more me and you. Like, I don't play that. I'm
Did
not
not
that understanding.
Yeah, I was gonna say no, but I actually think it was a fair point to make, because, like I said, people may not say it on Ready to Love, but we know that people will be doing
Yeah.
it
And he was
a
the
lot of
only one that
times.
was honest enough. Everybody, he wasn't the only one. He was not the only one.
Well,
Trust.
well,
He was
someone
not.
told me from mad, but they didn't say it, but we know. So I'm with you. Okay, so how did you feel then? So aside the sex part, how did you feel though about the fact that X answered the question saying she still loves him? Like, she's not that she has love for him, she still loves him. That's very close, and he didn't know that. And I even asked him when he came on to interview him. I said, "Did you know?" He said he didn't know.
Mhm.
So how did that affect how you saw things with LJ? Because once someone tells me the exes still love them and they didn't even know their ex still love them, I'm looking at you like, yeah, you mad and she mad too. Like, yo, like, how did you see it though?
Great question. So when she admitted to loving him, I'm like, okay, so I kind of felt like, this energy anyway. So it was kind of like spot on. But my thing is, he had to have known. Like, you had to have known. Sometimes I know like guys could be a little oblivious to things, but yeah, So then next thing you know, we're having a conversation about, the demise of their relationship kind of thing. And so I had to, have that talk with LJ after, like, yo, making
What up?
sure, like, listen, if y'all got feelings for each other, you just let me know. Like, I ain't gonna mess up no little love thing. Like, I
You
love
know
when
it. Yeah.
people, love each other. Like if it's at a point where you feel like it can be repaired, then repair it. But if you feel like it's over and you don't have the same feelings and you really want to pursue me, then we can go forward. But if there's something underlying there that you still want to pursue, then go for it. Because in my head, I'm thinking like, we're not official. I'm not having sex with you. We have no real ties to each other outside of the show. So you're not gonna hurt my feelings. So that's
The
just,
truth is the truth, baby.
yeah, that's how
Okay.
I handled
To
it
get.
and was looking at processing that situation.
Do you feel like you can be too understanding? Because
Yes, I do.
I would rage war on that, but I can see you're being very understanding. Do you feel like
No,
you can
no,
be too
no. I
understanding
know. I
sometimes?
know. I personally know that is one of the things that is kind of like, one of my downfalls. It's one thing to be understanding. And I talked about this on one of my lives. Is actually still posted on my IG when I was talking to one of my girlfriends. But anyways, yeah, I know that it's one thing to be understanding, and because I have the capacity to look at a person's heart and see what they're going through and understand that I don't feel like I can change the person, but it's kind of like, oh, I have compassion towards your situation because I see like, okay,
Yeah.
this is the root of whatever. But I am learning that I have to also take a person at face value, even though this is, this may be who you are deep down inside. I have to go off of what you were showing me. And so, there are times when I struggle with that. And that's just my truth. That's why I go to therapy
That's fair.
to
No, yeah.
navigate certain
Yeah.
things like that. Because I know that, and it's not just, in relationships, it's just overall, that's just how I am. And I guess that's why sometimes when people are unable to see what I'm seeing and be like, I don't get it, like this girl, da 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 da, it's because I'm looking at the person's heart.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at not how they're acting out, but I'm looking at what they're trying to hide, you know? And that's just how I am with everyone, not just, romantic relationships.
I feel you on that. Okay. I hear you on that.
I mean, everybody want to be understood, right?
Everyone does want to be
And
understood.
everybody want to be
Um,
loved.
I listen. I'm with you. I have the same issues, which is I overstand with people. I try to really empathize, understand, and it does get me into I would call relationships that I don't need to be in. Like that
Mhm.
wasn't my role. I was called to, but because I understood the person or whatever, I can have deep empathy for people and try to understand them as well. And I think that's why I was asking that particular aspect as well, because I was like, okay, it sounds like you're very understanding of the situation. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm gonna understand it, but I'm a throw you overboard. That was my kind of thought. But you was understanding with it, and I can understand that perspective. And I'll share my thoughts about that later on. But we'll
Okay.
stick to the program. Okay,
Mhm.
so then, so obviously yourself and LJ gave some great questions, and we love the fact you were able to pick that up as well. I got a question though.
Okay.
So, did you and LJ discuss monogamy? Because from us as an audience, it didn't sound like monogamy was on it. It sounded like y'all were doing sister wives or polygamy
Now
or polygamous or
now
polyamory.
we were joking about the whole sister wives
I don't
situation.
know.
That was not real. We were
It's not real.
joking.
That boy's got every girl underneath his thumb. That boy is a smart boy.
Listen, LJ is definitely smooth, but I'm not with, but we actually talked about it at the table because Looney asked the question. They just didn't air it.
Yes.
Yeah, she asked the question about, like, that, and
Okay.
I let it be known, like, I wasn't for that.
Okay.
I
Fair.
know. Like, that's not like, yeah, like, if that's what you about, you ain't gonna get
That's not
that
for you.
here.
Okay. Okay. So
But
it's
the whole sister wife situation at the reunion is because we all get along. Like, I got along with most of my cast members. So, we were connected to LJ, and it's just, there was no drama with us, you know, everybody got along. I
Okay.
mean, to me, it's like that's the way it should be. Everybody should get along in a situation where we're all dating the same people and trying to figure out, who's for who kind of thing.
Mm.
Mhm.
I can accept that. I can accept that.
Yeah.
Moving on to your last connection. Oh, it wasn't
Randall.
actually your last on the show, but Randall connection
Uh-huh.
because you two looked like it was. It looked like it was getting there. It was going somewhere. I really did think it was gonna be you and Randall at one point, as well. So tell us about the connection with Randall. What was it about Randall that you and him connected and you
He's
were
a
able to?
nerd.
Okay, so it's a bit like yourself. That sounds wrong, but
Yeah, he's a nerd. He's awkward. I'm awkward. Like when Issa Rae came out with that web series, Awkward Black Girl, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel seen.
I
Like
see me
that is
now.
me. And I've been telling her, like, watch Awkward Black Girl. But no, seriously. Yeah, he's definitely a big nerd. I love having intellectual conversations with him. He's a great listener. Uh, he has like this, this gentle strength that I like.
Mm.
Yeah. And he's just a overall cool person.
Mm. Did you have
Great.
many calls with Rara as well? Or
Oh no,
sorry, I
no,
shouldn't
no,
say
no, no,
Rara,
no, no. I don't call him
Randall.
that. It's Randall.
Sorry, apologies. I remember that you, as I said
Yeah,
that Randall.
it's
Apologies.
Randall.
Did you have many calls with Randall?
You said, did I have any what with Randall? I'm sorry.
Did you have many calls, phone calls, and
Oh yeah, Randall
interactions
did
with
call
Randall?
me. It wasn't like a whole bunch of phone calls.
Okay.
Same thing with LJ. It wasn't like a whole bunch of phone calls, and I wasn't really pressing for it anyway.
Mm.
Because, like I said, it just become like, for me, to be honest, I'm empathic. So after doing hours worth of shooting and I'm picking up everyone's energy, and you have to
Energy,
understand, like my cast, we're a rowdy
a lot
bunch.
of energy. Yeah.
So picking up everyone's energy from the cast to the crew, it's really taxing for me. So I have to
Mm.
recharge.
I get you.
I don't want to have to go home and then now I got to talk to you guys on the phone. Like it's just too much. Like, can I just talk to you when we're filming?
I get you. No,
so
I feel you.
so like for me, the phone thing wasn't as big of an issue
Fair.
with everybody else. Like it's just kind of it wasn't, because I I like my me time. Like I love my me time. Like I gotta recharge, and I'm happy. Like LJ and, well, all of them. They're very um, receptive to me being empathic, to the point where there were times when LJ and even Justice would check in with me to make sure that I was okay, because they could see, like, the energy was getting a little tense in the environment when we're filming, and they could see, like, I'm picking, like, I'm picking it all up and I can feel it. And, they'll check in, and I appreciate stuff like that, you know?
Mm.
And
I
so,
feel you.
so when it came to Randall and the phone calls, he did call me. Was it an everyday thing? Maybe every other day, or a text message here, there, whatever. There were times, his first time calling me, he tried to FaceTime me. I ignored that. I was like, no, you didn't.
Not a FaceTime.
Like, not FaceTime, not just me and you, and I'm looking crazy. Like, sir, no, decline.
Text. You can
So
text
it's
that for
just,
sure.
yeah.
I do get that, the recharging part as well. Yeah, if
Mhm.
you're always picking up all the energies, it can make it difficult as well. Um, so obviously yourself, Randall, we saw a couple of times you guys interacted, some dates as well. I'm intrigued to know about, I guess, the getaway, the house, how that was for you navigating that space. I know obviously Eljo wasn't there, which was a bit of a disappointment. I felt for him as well being kicked off because he shouldn't have been. I don't feel. But then with Randall, obviously dealing with Jamala and dealing with Kayla as well in the same space,
Mhm.
wanting the time of this person. How did you handle that particular situation?
Okay, so I had a bit of anxiety going into the house. Um, one, I knew LJ wasn't going to be there. We had a conversation, and I had a feeling that he was going to be eliminated, especially when he couldn't get out of his situation, which I was understanding. I mean, I wouldn't want him to lose his job over the doggone show. Like, this just doesn't make any sense to me. So, had a feeling that that was going to happen. We even talked about it. I even talked to Randall the night before, and I told him, like, because of who you're connected to, you're going to have some drama going into the house. I told him, I gave him that warning because I could just feel it, like, just feel just something, but something in your spirit, and I could feel it, and I don't like negative energy around. Like, I don't like the way it feels in my body. So anyway, so I decided to bring flowers for myself. If you see, I had some flowers going into the house, and I brought my own food and stuff, and I had my candles. So, and my frankincense and myrrh incense that I like to light. And so I can create like my oasis from the getaway, so I can recharge. It was very important to me to create an atmosphere in which I could have peace away from chaos. So anyways, going into the house, I had some issues with roommate situation because me, Brandy, and Mike, we were the second to last to arrive. Randall was the absolute last person to arrive, so most of the rooms were taken. So when I went to go find my room, I didn't see Samson's stuff. He said he had his sunglasses on the doggone dresser. I didn't see, there was no glass. So I set up shop, came back into my room when it was time to change, and my things were going, and I see a whole bunch of men's stuff. And I'm like, what in the world? So Samson was like, oh yeah, this is my room. I was the first one that was here. I was like, okay, Samson. So now I got to go looking for another room. And so the second room that I was in, it was the one with Brandy. Brandy originally had that room, but she stayed in the room with Mike. So really I had the room to myself. So when you see me talking to LJ on the phone, that was the room that I was in. So I set up shop, I prayed over the room, invited the Holy Spirit so I could have peace and calm in the room when I'm there. So anyways, then it was time, to get ready. And I was like, I don't have a bathroom. There's no bathroom in my room. So I'm looking for the bathroom. I'm like, where is there a shower? Where is everybody had their bathrooms in their rooms. And so I'm like, oh no, I need a new room. So I was told by one of the producers that there was another room that had access to a bathroom, and it was in the Casacita. But then I found out that Randall was in the Casacita, and I was apprehensive about switching my room to that room because I'm like, I don't want to deal with any drama. Like, I don't want to feel it. I don't want it to be close to me. Like, I just knew that there was going to be some drama, and I was very apprehensive about switching my room to the Casacita. But I still needed my bathroom. So,
oh no, I need my own personal space.
Yes, exactly. So I switched my room to the Casacita. So the Casacita was adjacent to the main house. And it was just, the rooms were separated by a bathroom in the center, and that was it. So I set up shop in that room, created my little oasis, had my flowers, my candles. I prayed over the room, played my gospel music, and so that was like, okay, now I got my setup. Now I feel better because now I feel settled. The first day I didn't spend time with Randall on the first day. So when you see me talking to Randall on the couch, that didn't happen until the second day. So the first day, I saw Randall, we talk here and there, but it wasn't really nothing significant. Like when we were at the table, having dinner together, we sat next to each other, what have you. But there was a point where I could see that I could feel like the energy, like we were all by the pool, and then him, Jamala, and Kayla come out, and Jamala and Kayla looked pissed, and Randall looked like he just going through it. And I'm just like, whoa. So I go to him like, hey, are you okay? Because like anytime I see somebody's not, okay, I ask, and I'm like, okay, something done happened. Like, I don't want to know what happened because I let all my connections know from the beginning. Like when you're with me, you're with me. I don't want to know
Agree.
anything about what you got
Love
going
that.
on with your other connections. Then I'm not going to share anything that I have going on with my connections, kind of thing. So that's how I had it with all of them, because we're all in this process together to get to know each other and see who's right for us, kind of thing. And I'm not a jealous person, so it's just like my concern is you. Hey, are you good?
Hmm.
So yeah, so it was a little bit different than we had the women's lounge, and I knew things weren't going to be good. I just knew it. So when Brandy called up Samson and Swayze, I knew it was just for show. I knew it. I was like, so when Tommy came up and was like, he got something to say, he went to interrupt. I was like, here we go.
Mm.
Here we go. Here we go. Because up until that point, me and Randall, we were at a place of repairing us. We had a date that never aired that happened after the all white party, and I let him know up front. I was like, "Listen, I got mixed feelings about seeing you right now." I let him know. I was like, "I'm not too happy to see you right now," and I
Mm.
told him, and it's because of his communication with me. I was like, I don't know what happened at the all white party because at the all white party, me and him spent majority of the all white party together. They don't show that, to the point where I was like, hey, we need to start mingling with other people.
Yeah.
So that's when we started mingling with other people, what have you. But a good portion of the all white party, me and Randall, we were together, especially like during the day portion of everything. So after that, the communication with him, it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna call you, and then he don't. I hit him up. Oh yeah, I'm gonna call you right back. It was just like very hit and miss. So I'm like, okay, you trying me. So then and I was like, picking up like something was off with him.
Mm.
I mean, watching the show, I see why, because he told Jamala like he was invested in her, and I wish he could have just told
Said
me.
that.
Yeah,
Mm.
just like I said, just be honest. But when we had the date, and I told him like, listen, I can't be fake and phony with you. Like, I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend like I'm happy to see you, because like, are you interested in me romantic? Like, are you interested in me still? Because your communication, like, it's not, your words and your actions are not matching, and that's important to me. So he said, yeah, I'm still interested in you. I said, are you sure? Like, because if you're not, it's okay. Like, are you interested in me romantically? And he said, yes, I'm interested in you romantically. And so we talked about, what was going on. I said, well, you know, I understand that you got a lot of stuff going on with work and everything and filming, but and I considered that, which is why I was calling to check up on you, to check on your heart space, because I told you, like, when I'm interested in someone, I'm interested in the totality of that person. That's mind, body, soul,
Mm.
spirit. But when we were at the women's lounge, it was a few of the ladies, me, Jamala, I think Brandy, Sharice, or whatever, and we're in the van waiting to start, and Jamala's phone was connected to the van. So Randall called Jamala, and it popped up on the van that it was Randall. So she didn't answer. She could have answered. It wouldn't have bothered me because that's one of his connections. But that showed me like, okay, so you can call someone back. So that was addressed in the date that we had. So we talked everything out, and we decided, okay, well, we'll start over from a clean slate. And I'm the type of person, whenever I hash something out with you, I'm not going to throw it back in your face again. Like, okay,
Mm.
we've handled that. We're moving on, because there's no healing if I'm always going to throw it in. Okay, well, you da 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 da. I don't do that. So it's like, okay. So at this point, me and Randall were at a place of repair, because LJ, after the all white party, he had stepped up significantly and was my strongest connection. So
Mm.
now I'm in the house, and I only have Randall, and we're at a point of repair. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'm committed to the process. Let's see what becomes of this, if this even is a thing or not. I don't know. So by the second day, drama.
Hmm. I need to know what the trauma
I'm
was.
gonna tell you.
Baby, we listening. All ears are open,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. So what happened was the the second day, we all Samson woke us up early, was like, let's go jogging. I missed the whole thing. That's why I'm in my workout. But I was so mad when I couldn't change my clothes. Like, guys, can I please go change my clothes? They would not let me change my clothes. Change my clothes. It was a lot of stuff going on. But anyways, so me and Randall, we had a. I was in the kitchen, lit candles, just straightening up the place and everything, cleaning up, and Randall and I, we had a long conversation in the kitchen. The second day is when I spent the most with Randall.
Mhm.
And, I was just, myself, and I could tell like he was frustrated with his other connections. It was always written on his face, his energy and everything. But then with me, he would smile and all that other stuff because I'm just like I'm chilling. Like I don't like drama. So now we're sitting at the table eating all the cast and everything. We're having breakfast after everybody's like in the kitchen cooking and cleaning, and then now they just want the ladies, sitting at the table together. And I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. Here we go. So Kayla's talking and she's alluding to not sleeping in the room alone. Now I know Randall wasn't sleeping by himself because I was in the casacita. But I'm observing this. I'm observing his behavior because just because you like me and we're a connection, I still have to see how you're acting when we're under the same roof. So just because I'm more favorable to you doesn't mean that it's reciprocal. 'Cause
Mm.
I'm trying to see how you're handling me. Like, I get to see how you act. Like, are you gonna knock on my door and say, "Hey, Tranika, good morning"? Something. I don't know. So, anyways, he did not sleep in the room alone. So, anyways, so Kayla alluded to not sleeping in the room alone, and now the ladies want to know like what's going on. And so Jamala, she was not having it. Like she was like trying to get the tea. Her eyes was like all like wide and everything. And Kayla, dismissed it. I don't know whether she's up in the room by herself. I don't know. Nor do I care. I was in my room with my door closed. That's all I cared about. So, anyways, then Kayla takes her phone and wants us to do like a TikTok video. So she's showing us something on the TikTok video that she wanted us to, some dance that she wanted us to do. Because the night before, we were all dancing together, all the ladies except for Jamala. Jamala was with
I saw
Randall.
that video. Yes.
Yes, yeah, Jamala was with
Hmm.
Randall. So we were all, Kayla is a dance instructor. So, I said, listen, I don't have no rhythm and I'm stiff. And then the other ladies was like, I'm not a dance either. So Kayla was like, come on, let's dance. So Swayze was the only guy downstairs watching us because him and Katie was all like booed up there. But yeah, and we were dancing and having fun. So that's why Kayla was saying like, hey, let's do a TikTok video. So she's showing us her phone. Next thing you know, Randall texts Kayla. So Randall sends a text message to Kayla, and Katie, notices it, and she's like, "Oh, Kayla, is that a text message from Randall? What does it
Oh.
say?" And so Kayla like sent the notification away. She was like, "Oh no, it's not. No, it's not necessary." So Katie looks at me and was like, "Well, Tranika, Randall is your connection. Don't you want to know what it says?" I was like, "Don't put me in that. Like that has nothing to do with me." Because again, like I said, like when I'm with my connection, I'm only concerned about me and that person. I don't care about what they have going on with the other person. My goal is to see what me and you have together. So um, Jamala is like, ooh, and I'm feeling everybody's energy. So now,
Hmm.
Katie and Jamala and Brandy, they're very close. So they're trying to get the tea for the girl. Like, oh yeah, what's going on? And I'm feeling all of this stuff. And so Jamala's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell us what's in the text message. What did he say? What did he say? What did he say? And I'm just like, what in the world? And so then there was a point where Jamala is just like looking like this and she's staring at me. And I'm like, Jamala, are you okay? And she's just like, I was like, Jamala, are you okay? She was like, oh yeah, I have a headache. And I was like, are you sure? And she was like, yeah. And I was just like, uh-uh. Like I can't. Like the energy was just too much. So there was a point when they was like going back and forth about the doggone text message thing, and I was like, listen, and Katie and tried to, get me involved in that. I was like, listen, I'm going to the bathroom and don't nobody come looking for me. Because I was like,
So
this
you never
is,
got to know what the text message was?
huh? What'd you say?
So did they ever tell you what the text message was?
No, I didn't care.
Oh,
She never said
that's a
it
shame.
and I never cared.
That's a shame. Hmm.
Yeah, I never cared. So then, it's time for us to you know, get ready for the game. Sister
Hmm.
and her mister.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
because of what happened at the ladies' lounge when Jamala revealed that her and Randall were saying "I love you" to each other, um, they, yeah, Kayla, I guess, wasn't too happy about that, and confronted Randall about the situation. Randall told me like, yeah, I wish you would have never said anything, and I was just like, because Katie looked at me and was like, well, Tranika, how do you feel that, Randall being your connection? I was like, I don't care. I don't love him. That's exactly what I said. It's like, I
So
don't
wait, he said I love you to Jamal, and Jamal said I love you back, or Jamal said I love you, and he said I love you back.
Yeah, she said that he said it first.
Wait,
That they
we're
went
saying I love yous.
from olive juice to I love yous. That was what was said when we were talking to Tommy. And so yeah, so Katie was like, well, yeah, Trinidad, how do you feel? I was like, I don't care. I don't love him. It's like, I, I was really feeling, LJ. Not that I didn't like Randall, because like I said, me and Randall were at a place
Mm.
of kind of like, repairing things. But I also know, like, there were times when we were in the women's lounge, Jamal would just share, she would just share everything. If I was talking about Randall, she would interrupt and say some stuff. Or if Kayla was talking about Randall, she would interrupt. But whenever she talked about Randall, nobody did that to her. So it's crazy how, like, they'll show like Kayla rolling her eyes and stuff, but it wasn't Kayla who started that stuff. It was Jamala. So anyways, so then what happened? Yeah, so now we're playing the game Sister and her Mister. And
Hmm.
my only connection there is, Randall. And I mean, yeah, she said the "I love you" thing. That's what they said, but I'm not gonna go off of what a woman says who feels like I'm her, who may feel like I may be her competition, um, based off of her actions. Based off of her actions. So
Hmm.
I'm not. I need to, just talk to the person. Like at the end of the day, like if you like her, just say it. Like it's okay. Like I'm like that's just how I am. So now we play the game. I win the game. And, there were times when, you see them together, but Randall has his arms around me. He's actually rubbing on like he's rubbing on me.
Rub
But
on your shoulder.
yeah, yeah,
Mm, I
Randall
like
is
that
very
too.
affectionate
Hmm.
towards me and stuff like that.
That's
But
lovely to know. Hmm.
yeah, so I could see how, because I don't really share that much about my experiences with my connections when we're in the women's lounge, how people may not feel like there is much there because I don't share as much. It's just none of your business.
I get you.
I share in the confessionals. That's what I do. I would
Hmm.
share in the confessionals. So I win the date, and so we're waiting. Kayla comes out to they're doing their setup of the date kind of thing, and Kayla comes out to me, and she starts talking to me about Randall and Jamala thing and how she confronted Randall and how Randall was lying to her and wouldn't really answer the question about the whole "I love you" thing. And I'm just, listening. And then, she was told to go back inside because me and Randall had to wait, do our date. So Randall comes out. And so Randall is with me and we're outside and they're still, doing like their setup and getting some B-roll or whatever of the setup. And so on the other side of the window is Jamala just staring. Like everybody's on the other side of the house and she's right in front of the window, like sitting, like there's a window and she's where the chair is, in front of, like, she's sitting and she's just staring. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I could feel her energy. Like, you could tell, like, she was not happy. And I could feel that energy. So I told the producer, I was like, you see Jamal over there? So she was told to go join everybody else. So now me and Randall, we do the date, which is pretty much like a tantric exercise. That's really what it is. If anybody knows what tantric is, I gazing is a tantric exercise.
Yes.
So we finished the date and we hadn't eaten in like hours.
Uh-huh.
Everybody ate. So we go in the kitchen and Brandy asks, oh, so how was the date, kind of thing. So then, I didn't answer at first because then Jamal was like, yeah, how was the date? How was the date? I was like, whoa, this is too much, but they don't show that. So then Samson asked, and then I start warming up my food and I start, telling them what's going on. So I'm by the microwave and there is a drawer that has utensils in it. Now in the kitchen, there's other places that has utensils in it, but I'm in front of this particular drawer, which is like the microwave is like in the corner. And so the drawer was like right there. And I'm literally, there's really not much room. So she comes over and opens the drawer. Like, you can visibly see that there's not enough room for you to open the drawer without hitting me. So she opens the drawer, hits me with the drawer. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. So I looked. It's like, no, like, Nika, calm down. She keeps trying you. Like, just calm down. So I didn't say anything. I was just like, okay. Cause I'm just like, what is this? Like, it was intense. So then eventually, Randall goes off with Jamal. You could see that she was not happy, but I can feel all of this energy and I don't like it. So now I go retreat to my room because that's my oasis. And so I go into the Casasita. Now I am leaving the Casasita, and the Casasita is facing the side door of the main house. So I open the door to the Casasita, and as I'm exiting the Casasita, Randall is exiting the main house. And so he looks like you could tell something's wrong with him. He looked pissed, but I don't know what's going on. So I had the door open. I said, hey, Randall, are you coming inside? Because I can leave the door open for you. And he was like, no. And I was like, wait, are you okay? And so he just stormed out of the gate, because there was a gate right there to exit the mansion. So he just storms out, and right behind him, I can see like Jamal is like trying to hurry up and she's speed walking, trying to catch up to him. And she sees me. She's like, good night. And I'm like, what? Like, that wasn't even necessary. Like, I wasn't even talking to you. Secondly, I didn't even do anything to you. Like, I just felt like that was like unnecessary energy, and it was kind of like disrespectful. Considering that for any of the connections that my connections had, I've always shown them respect, which is why, like with LJ, I got along with all the ladies. We call each other sister wives, Me and Looney had the date with LJ. Like, we were cool. Me and Shakira, we were cool. Like, when Shakira was going through it, I was right there. And she was also connected to Justice. So it was just like, I didn't have any of those issues. And initially, I didn't have any issues with Jamala like that until we got into the house. I see now, her heart was involved. So she was displacing her anger kind of thing. But I ain't the one to displace it with. That's that. So yeah, it was just like that whole energy thing. So that morning, when it was time to leave, me and Randall, we had a conversation. I had my candles and stuff lit, like, my whole little vibe, listening to my gospel music in the morning. And we had a conversation, and he came into my room and he told me how he felt about me and how he was displeased with his other connections. And because he was able to see, what was going on, like see whatever he felt like he needed to see. So he told me, like, his feelings for me grew, and he regrets not putting a lot of his energy into me kind of thing. And I told him, I was like, well, because I was up for elimination prior, like the previous gentleman's lounge, that I was probably going to be up for elimination again. And he was like, no, you should be good, because there was a castmate who was up for elimination every single week. And I said, well, if she hasn't gotten eliminated by now, she's not going to get eliminated. So yeah, so that's what happened in the house. And then, that same day was the gentleman's lounge. And then I got the phone call that I had a date. So I knew it was either I was going to get eliminated or stay. Now, before we left the house, Randall did tell me he was going to, quote unquote, shake some shit up. When we got into the gentleman's lounge, he was like, he's going to tell everything. And I was like, okay. And then Randall sent me a text message letting me know that he was going to be the one I was going to see at the elimination date. So for me, I took that as reassurance, considering the type of conversation that we had earlier that morning. And then, he was in my face and was talking about how much of a great time he had with me and liked me and all this other stuff. And I felt like, when he told me, that I was up for elimination, okay, you just played in my face. Like, you could have just told me, like, hey, you're right. He could have told me that in the text message or whatever. But after conversing with him, after filming and everything, he felt like he dropped the ball in that. And which is why he was like, let's have some fun with this when he was in the confessional, because he forgot that he neglected to tell me, like, hey, yeah, you're the one that's up for elimination.
There's a lot that just happened there. A lot that happened. Chile. I don't even know where to even start with that one, because there's a lot. So do you feel like Randall is innocent in this though? Because if once I hear the words he utters the words "I love you," at that point, from then onwards, everything that's going to happen is going to be an escalation. I'm not saying that he's to blame for everything, but surely there has to be accountability on his part. Because once you say "I love you" to somebody, you causing some distress at that moment. You know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't say that he is guilty or anything. I think that he has some feelings for Jamala. Definitely not going to discredit his feelings for her. To the depth of his feelings, that's not for me to say. That's only for him to say. I kind of picked up when we were meeting the exes that she was in love with him anyway. I could feel the energy in the way that she was talking. It was you could tell that she was in love with him. I mean, really, Jamala didn't have any other connections but Randall, because her and Mike had an alliance to not vote each other off, because Mike told me. So they would, yeah. So it's just, I think that what they had, that they had some feelings there. Maybe one's feelings could have been stronger than the other, or whatnot. But like I said, it's not for me to say. Yeah, if he told her that he loved her and he meant it, and maybe if it wasn't in love or just love, maybe he should have provided her with clarity. Maybe if he felt like she was the one and maybe wanted to just string me and Kayla along, maybe he should have given her more reassurance. I don't know. That's not for me to say. What I was concerned about is my connection with him, and that was that. But leaving the getaway, he did express that he really liked me, and at the end of the day, like, he wished that it was me that he had put his eggs into the basket, or whatever, more eggs into the basket, to the point when Tommy asked him, who does he have a deeper connection with? He said Tranika. So now you telling me I'm being eliminated, and you said that you had the deeper connection with me. So I felt like if he really wanted me to be there, then it would have happened. But everything happens for a reason. But for those who are curious why I was upset, I felt like it's just playing in my face. I don't like stuff like that. I just like honesty. Like I know that he had told Kayla, I didn't find out until like, afterwards, that he was going to pursue, after all that stuff that happened on the first day, that he went to Kayla's room and they had a conversation, and he told her that he was going to pursue Jamala, but he never had that conversation with me. And that's because whenever he was around me, there was no dramatic situations going on. It was just like I was just giving him me. Like I live a peaceful existence. I like to seek peace in things. I don't going off on people all the time. Like that's just not me. Now I'm not going to allow people to try me, but in the real world, people don't try me like that. Like we're on a reality TV show, so things are a little. It's like an alternate universe. So things that might happen in this alternate universe doesn't mean that it necessarily happens in your day-to-day life. But I do own my actions, because that's how I am when you piss me off. I'm very like, I don't deny who I am when I'm pissed off.
Okay, so let's work backwards. So the
Mhm.
Randall, when he said obviously you got the final elimination, when you actually got voted off, we saw the frustration come out. You're saying because earlier on, not even earlier on that day, but like earlier on, you'd heard that you guys had a deeper connection,
Mhm.
right? So just kind of just walk me through that again, just so I make it very, very clear. So obviously, that he said that you guys have a deeper connection, but you're being voted off. Why is it that your reaction came out the way it did
Oh, I
for the
just told
Randall one?
you, because I felt like he was playing in my face. Like he started off talking about like, how he was connecting to me, how he wants us to continue to kind of like grow in this. Like he was playing in my face the same way Mike did when I was up for the elimination. What they didn't show was Mike pretending like he was interested in me. And I said, like, I don't do fake and phony. Like, cut the BS. Like, we already established that we're friends. Tell me why you have me here. Because when we had the group date at the skating rink, me and Mike had a conversation and we established that there was, nothing there, that we were friends. So now you're playing in my face, asking, saying like you're interested in me, and you never tried to get my phone number or anything like that until I called you out on it. But tell me, follow me on social media. I'm talking about Mike.
Yeah.
And then you're not following me. So I was like, you're playing in my face. And then when he gave me the reasons why I was up for elimination, though they were lies, I would have appreciated if they were true. Like if he would have said, like, hey, most of the guys here, you're not their top connection, or they're not connecting with you. I would have respected that. But don't say that I haven't tried to communicate, or I haven't expressed any vulnerability, or I'm not communicating with my connection. Like he was just giving me stuff just to say stuff, to the point where he called me the next day and admitted that he didn't know what to say. Like he knew it was BS. That's why I was like, that's a crock of sugar honey iced tea. Like I didn't curse him out and call him a mother effer. To me, that's cursing somebody out. I was cursing, but I was not cursing him out. But I was definitely livid, because don't lie and play in my face. I don't respect that. I don't respect that at all. But then there's a point where you see me holding his hand. But the thing with Randall, like I said, he started off, you know, like everything was good. And remember, I took it as, with him telling me that I was going to see him, I took that as a sign of reassurance, considering the conversation that we had earlier. And I told him my concern about being up for elimination. And he told me, like, hey, there's somebody who's been up every week and never got eliminated. And then if you think about it, technically speaking, if I had two connections and there were more than one cast member who only had one connection, I should have never been up for elimination to begin with. But they were looking out for their friends. Mm-hmm.
So then why? Okay, so does that Randall's? Is that, do you put the blame then on Randall in that situation then, with Randall sending you home then, because he didn't fight for you?
Randall didn't want, according to him, he didn't want to send me home, nor did he want to be the one chosen to tell me that I was, getting sent home. So it wasn't easy for him either, which is why the type of bond that me and Randall had, we're able to keep it real with one another, which is why I kind of felt like Like, dang, like I thought our bond was strong enough. Like he could have, instead of leading with all of this, I felt like he could have just been straight up with me because of the type of bond that we do have. I mean, we have a great bond to this day, a pretty good friendship. So, and I'm appreciative of that. But I just felt like you just played in my face. Like you could have just kept it. It kind of feels like a betrayal, but he did not like it. So when I'm angry, I don't like for anyone to touch me because I like to be responsible for my energy. And I know, like, I have very big energy. When I'm happy, you're going to feel it. When I'm angry, you're going to feel it. And so, majority of the time when we were at the elimination date, I was quiet. And when you see me walk off, I actually came back. So what they did was edit like both of the things together. But majority of the time I was quiet. And at first, in the beginning, he was holding my hand. But when I got angry, no, I don't want you touching me because I don't want that energy to transfer. And I did tell him that. So he was aware, but he just felt like because of the bond that we had, he felt like, maybe he could provide comfort and kind of calm me down. But it had nothing to do with him. It had everything to do with when I'm angry, I need get myself to calm down. Like you just played in my face. And like, I don't want that energy to transfer. So let me just keep my mouth shut.
I guess obviously in my head, I'm thinking where the Randall part, Mike, I can kind of get a bit more, but the Randall one is like, I'm a bit stumped on that in terms of, you know what I mean, the play in your face kind of situation. I'm a bit stumped by that. Maybe I'm not getting it, I'm not catching it appropriately, but I'm a little bit stumped by that play in your face situation. I know that you guys might have had a stronger bond, but at that point, as you're drawing towards the end of the show, someone's got to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fine. But like I said, the way that he started off the conversation, as if, he wanted to continue to have something there with me. Don't do that. Like, what was the point of that? That's playing in my face. Just be honest. That's what that is. Like, just be honest. You didn't even have to do all of that. You could have saved all the fluff. That's just how I am.
Okay.
Like, there's no reason for the fluff. Just be honest. That's it.
Okay. So you interpreted him not being very direct in that moment as him being fluffy and
Yes,
him not.
but knowing Randall now, like I know that Randall is the type of person he likes to make sure that everyone is okay. He cares about people's feelings. So he would do certain things to make sure that he doesn't hurt someone. He does that a lot with a lot of people, even on our show. But I'm the type of person, like I just respect honesty. That's it. Like, of course, when you're being honest with me, be respectful with it. You don't have to be rude with it, but I just respect honesty. That's it.
Because I feel like Randall, in a sense, that moment is an encapsulation of, I guess, the whole situation with Randall. From what I'm hearing from your perspective, Randall ain't been straight with you. Like, when I mean straight with you, in terms of the fact that he's always had himself underneath Jamala, telling her he loves her, you know what I mean, and yet still fostering feelings in a way with you as well. And it's almost like it sounds like he's been dragging you along with it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm surprised you're giving him a pass, because like,
yeah,
I'm like, he should get the same smoke Jamala getting. You know what I mean? Maybe not as much because she didn't do as much.
Okay, so then now you have to also remember that when we do our reunion and stuff like that, it's very early. Like we're only like 2 episodes in the show. So it's like we don't see anything until it comes out. So a lot of things that, has transpired, like I was not aware of a lot of things. But then, the type of friendship that I now have with Randall, he's been very open with me about certain things, and I appreciate the honesty. So there are things that he told me and I'm now made aware of. But I mean, at the end of the day, this stuff happened like months ago. And I will say that no matter what happened at the reunion, the following month, we were all together having fun. Whether we cared for one another or not, we were all together peacefully having fun. So. And that was like without cameras, just us having a good time on Labor Day, weekends. And yeah, so at the end of the day, Randall was not my boyfriend.
Mm.
Um, it's what it is.
So did you guys date after the show?
You said, did we date? No, we hang
No,
out, but yeah,
no dating for the show.
no, yeah, so yeah, no. And I think Randall is a wonderful person. I really, really do. I have a lot of, respect for Randall. And the space that I'm in now, I
It's not
gotta
it.
after doing a reality TV show, it's not for the faint of heart. You gotta
It's
pour
not.
back into yourself, So I'm not in a rush to be in anything. It's kind of like, okay, girl, you just dated a few people at the same doggone time. Like, let's just recharge here. And
Mm.
whatever happens, happens.
Hey, I'm with you. All right.
Mhm.
And just quickly as well, Zoe's situation. He bashed a car into you in your arm, baby. I wanted to get your perspective. How did you feel about that situation?
Oh, you
You know,
said Zoe?
yeah, when he crashed the car in the back of you,
Oh, I
like,
was pissed.
okay,
Oh, I was livid, livid. Okay, livid. They didn't show me talking to Zoe about it, but I did. So I think
oh,
that's
so
probably
you spoke
why.
to him about it?
So I think that's probably why people might have assumed that I was docile or something, but I'm not.
Hmm. Oh, so you
so,
spoke to him
so,
on the day?
so Zoe came into the place on edge. Like his whole
Yeah.
energy was off. We have a picture, a group picture with us, and you can see like something was off with him. So before we started our scene, I went up to Zoe. I was like, "Hey, are you okay?" Because like I said, whenever I could just sense that something isn't right with a person, I check up on people because that's just me. So, anyways, he was just kind of like, a little standoffish at first, and then we're starting. And so we're go kart racing. I used to go kart race a lot when I was a kid. My grandma would take me
Love that.
go kart racing, and I used to love it. So I was excited. I haven't been on a go kart in years. So I'm talking sugar honey iced tea and telling everybody I'm gonna, whoop their behinds, and then they're picking on me saying like, "Oh, you ain't gonna beat nobody with a broke wrist," and we're all having fun. We're all talking smack and fun. Everything was lighthearted and fun. But Zoe, he just he made it
Well, another
serious.
one.
Yeah, he made it serious. So when he hit me, it was very intentional. And while we were racing, I couldn't have my splint on.
Mm.
So my splint was off. Everybody was, they knew my splint was off or whatever. So we're riding the go-karts, and some of my castmates kind of like nicked me, but it's because they couldn't control their will. It wasn't intentional. It was, so it wasn't, so when I got hit, it wasn't that hard. But so purposefully came behind me and rammed me, and it caused me to hit the side rail really hard, and I
Mm.
jerked. And so it hurt my wrist, and I was like in pain for like 2 to 3 minutes. And that pain, I don't care, when you are in pain, 2 to 3 minutes seems like a
It's a
long
long,
time.
yeah.
Yes. And you guys have to understand, my injury happened, me breaking my wrist literally happened a week before we started filming. We only
Mm.
filmed for 6 weeks. So those who think like I needed a workers' comp check and all that BS stuff, like, come on now, where's your compassion? I literally broke my wrist, and it healed to form to the point where I was told I need surgery on my wrist. But yeah, he
Yeah.
hit me really hard, and when I brought it to his attention, he didn't care. He never apologized,
He
and
never apologized.
no, he never apologized. He
Ugh.
never apologized. He never apologized. Mm-mm. And he even hit my helmet hard too. And I told him that that hurt. So I feel like, he was manhandling me like I was a dude without realizing, hey, I'm a woman. so, so yeah, he was on edge that whole day. His energy was just like off. And I kind of felt like, dang, dude, like what I do to you? Because at the all white party, which was like a few days prior, me and Zoe had a long conversation, and we're talking about a lot of things, and he got to know a lot of my background and my story, and um, my relationship with God and everything. And I just kind of felt like, dang, sir, like,
Mhm.
I thought we was cool, but displaced anger again. Like, there we go.
What was wrong with it? What was he such on 10? And so you had a conversation with him and he didn't apologize even when he's
No,
made aware that, look, you've
he was still rowdy. He was still like, "Oh, you just mad because you just lost. Oh, you just mad." Like,
what?
yeah, he was still on one. So it's like sometimes you gotta choose your battles. So I was like, "Girl," like I was smiling. I was like, "Calm down, Nika. Calm down." Calm down. And I'm just doing my little exercise to calm down so I don't go like, because I know, like, yeah, he's on one, but I know
Yeah.
that I can go over you. So it's like, it's not even worth it. So yeah.
Mm, That's not a good look at all. I'm sorry to go through that. That's not a good look at all. Okay, I'm definitely hearing you on that. Definitely hearing that. I don't think I have any more questions on that. I mean, is there anything you wanted to clear up? Anything that as like you've seen maybe in reviews or seen us talking about as an audience that you thought, now you know that ain't the truth? Like anything
Um,
like that for you?
you know, I just think that people are gonna, no matter what you say, people are gonna come up with their own opinions. And that's one thing about being like in the forefront, being on TV. People feel like when they see segments of you that they have you figured out, and they absolutely don't. And you can show a person and tell them, and they're going to still make assumptions off of their and filter it through their own experiences and do a lot of projection. So whether I sit up here and, I mean, try to clear up anything, it don't matter anyway. They're going to still say whatever they want to say, including you. So it's
You
like,
know me.
yeah, so it's like whatever. I just wish that people would have compassion and realize that if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't like it. And a lot of people like to be keyboard warriors and feel like just because you can make a comment that you can just that it's okay for you to just say any and everything to people, and that's not okay. I mean, you essentially become the bullies that you talk about. So it's kind of like, those who say, that they're this or that, they become those who are judging, and then they talk about people judging. So it's like, the person without sin cast the first stone.
That's fair.
It's just,
That's fair.
it is what it is. But no matter what, all I know is who I am, and those who love me and who actually know me. Um, that's all that matters to me. I know that TV life, reality TV, social media, it's not real. It's not
Mm.
existence. And sometimes I feel like people just need to unplug and tend to their own lives, because when you're so entrapped in other people's lives, it's because you are trying to escape something that's going on within you. But I'm a woman who does not mind, showing part of my journey on TV, and it comes with it. Doesn't mean that I like some of the things that it comes with, but I understand that people are limited to whatever they make assumptions based off of whatever they see on TV. And I know that within myself, I've been my authentic self. If I was such a horrible person, I think it would have came out by now. I get along with the majority of the people that I come in contact with, and yeah, I like peace and love in my life, and I like to give it. And when people try me, then you see that I'm not one to play with. And that's it. It doesn't make a person fake or phony. It just, no one is just one way. Everybody has ways in which they act. And I don't pretend to be perfect or innocent, nor have I ever said that. But I am kind and I am nurturing. I am definitely sugar and spice. I'm feisty. And yeah, there are times when if I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you. And I'm not going to pretend like I do either. So yeah.
Okay, cool. I totally
And then, oh,
understand
and
that.
then I saw some comments. You guys will have to watch the reunion to see why I popped off. But now that you got the backstory on what happened at the getaway, please understand that I don't fight over a man.
Oh,
So
by the way, I've watched it. They don't actually explain that. So you
yeah,
actually Yeah, they don't explain it.
Okay, so they don't explain
Yeah.
it. So then I will say this: it's because of how I was treated during the getaway. And I looked into the camera and I even said, I want to make myself very clear. My issue with her had nothing to do with Randall and had everything to do with how she treated me. That's what I had an issue with. And so when I made that comment on the show, it was because she said something first, saying that she won and got Randall. It's like, girl, he don't even claim you outside of this. That's why I said that, because
Okay.
of the
That
comment that
makes
she
sense so
said.
far. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was addressing how she treated me because she made a comment about showing respect to his other connections, which was a lie. And we already established Tranika don't like lies. So that's how that came about. But I don't just go off popping off on people. That's not what I
Yeah.
do.
All right. No, I'm hearing you on that. I'm hearing that. Listen, it's been entertaining. It's been real. It's been deep. It's been
Mhm.
honest. It's been vulnerable. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you coming on here because I know it's never easy facing myself and the audience as well. Because I know the audience can be a little bit vicious, including myself. So I
Mhm.
really do
No, it's
appreciate the
not a
fact.
lie, sweetheart. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a comment. And see, look,
Yes.
you see, this is the shit I be talking about.
Yeah. We go.
Yeah, nobody don't do stuff like that to her, but she
We're going to
always.
tap in. We're going to tap into that interview as well with Jamala. So hopefully she'll also
Yeah,
have her say
she'll
as well
tell
when
her
the time
piece.
comes.
You know, she'll
Yeah.
tell her piece whenever the time comes, and she has every right to tell however she processed everything, and let her do it. Like her opinions or whatever does not affect me. But I don't wish any ill will towards her at all. Like at all. I ain't got no ill will. Like none. None at all. I just don't like when people try me. And I explained how she tried me when we were at the getaway. She probably doesn't feel like she tried me because, the way that she felt about Randall at that time, because of whatever he was telling her. But like I said, it was displaced. And I didn't appreciate that at all. And
Mhm.
yeah, but yeah, I have no issues with her.
Fair enough. No issues there to report then. Um, yeah. Listen, look, it's been good. I appreciate you sharing what you shared. I think you've given us more light on these situations as well. I'm intrigued to find out what the other castmates are also going to say now as well. I think because there's more to the story that we've seen than the screen. The screen doesn't tell us the whole story. So
Yeah.
really do appreciate you sharing, your perspective and what you went through as well. So
Mhm.
that's honestly a big thing. Do you have anything that you're doing at the moment that we can, support, get behind, promote?
Yeah, so I do have
You
a
know,
docu-series called This Is Rape. Survivors speak on molestation and rape, and you can check that out on YouTube and on Facebook.
I appreciate it. All right.
Mhm.
Send me a link so I can put it in the description as well for you as well. So this
Most
video
definitely.
you can see
Thank
as
you.
well. Yeah. All right. Listen, audience members, it's been amazing. It's been great. It's been beautiful, isn't it? You've
Yes,
enjoyed the
thank you so much.
conversation.
Thank you so much
No
for
worries.
having me on your platform, and thank you to all your viewers for watching.
Thank you, Tranika. It's much love.
All right.
Audience members, audience members, listen, look, we are concluding this particular part of the show. This is another one of those great interviews once more again. You got everything you wanted, okay? And there'll be more interviews coming up in the next few days as well. I know some of you want to have your say. You want to talk about the show. You want to talk about what you've experienced, what you saw in this interview. Well, you can, but you got to be part of the Patreon, and then you can join a Discord, and you can actually have your actual say. Because once it shuts, it shuts. There's no more conversation after this. So if you're one of those people that love discussing the show, discussing about interviews and things that you saw, you want to have your say, well, join the Patreon. The link is going below there as well. There'll be a link in the description later on for you guys as well. And join the Discord, and then you can say your piece. Other than that, it's been amazing. Jamala, I appreciate you also in the chat as well. I know you're present. Thank you, Tranika, as well for coming through.
Thank
And
you for having
listen, audience, have a good night tonight. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Much love and appreciate